trembled, and behind each sacred beast appeared 7 constellations, a total of 28 manifesting in the heavens. Concurrently, the 4 ancient elements, earth, fire, wind, and water, converged to elevate Ji Xian, lifting him into the air. He truly succeeded, exclaimed the tiger, astonished. The phoenix statue emitted a faint glow, a bit taken aback. Indeed, he is remarkable, remarked the white tiger statue. The black tortoise statue interjected, I've dwelt here for countless years, and this is the first time I've witnessed someone grasp the essence of this scripture. The long silent true dragon finally spoke. Do you think he is connected to the one who created us? The phoenix dismissed this notion, asserting, do not speculate foolishly. We are nearly 1 billion years old, outliving many celestial beings. This emperor's bone age is quite young, likely less than 10,000 years. It cannot be him. No matter how powerful an entity might be, it is impossible to traverse 1 billion years back to this temporal juncture. The true dragon fell silent, refraining from further discourse. Within Ji Xian, a monumental transformation had taken place. The Tai Chi celestial map had grown even more expansive than when he first obtained the primal divine strength. It was the very foundation of Ji Xian's cultivation, now magnified, subtly surpassing even the myriad divine trees above. Surrounding the celestial map, 4 great mountains emerged, each representing one of the sacred beasts, firmly stationed there. A luminous object appeared within Ji Xian, soaring towards the domain of the true dragon. Instantly, the true dragon radiated resplendent celestial light, and the stars under its command grew increasingly brilliant. That was the source of the true dragoness path, acquired by Ao Chung during his tribulation, which Ji Xian had replicated, unexpectedly finding use for it here. Although he had already mastered the forbidden secret arts, to progress further, he needed to gather the corresponding sources of the Tao to achieve greatness. With the true dragon's source obtained, it was time to seek out the remaining sources. Ji Xian mused, clarifying his direction within the ancient celestial realm. After a long while, Ji Xian opened his eyes and exhaled deeply. For a considerable time, he had focused intently on cultivating opposing elemental forces, such as time and space, yin and yang, life and death, hardness and softness, the 5 elements, and so forth, concentrating solely on the internal evolution of Tai Chi while neglecting its outward expansion. Now, the 4 sacred beasts, derived from the 4 extremes heavenly art and incorporated into the Tai Chi celestial map, occupying the 4 corners, had opened the gateway for the dispersion of power outward. The term Tai Chi refers to the state before the separation of heaven and earth, where the primordial energy was a singularity. Initially, Tai Chi existed as a celestial focal point, no larger than a speck of dust, and through billions of years of evolution, the universe, the starry sky, and the myriad worlds came into being. Ji Xian ignited the pinnacle within him, opening 4 channels, aspiring to transform this celestial map into a cosmic existence. This revelation clarified the path in his heart. He sought to create a law that encompasses all avenues of the world. Although his enlightenment concluded, he did not awaken, but continued to refine this precious Tao fruit. Soon, over 5 centuries passed, during which he forged the divine platform of time and space, advancing further in his cultivation. Now, only the paths of swordsmanship, chaos, and creation remained. Once the divine platform reached perfection, he could ascend to the next realm. In the external world, the 4 stone statues had been vigilantly observing Ji Xian for 500 years, awaiting his awakening. He truly is remarkable. I can faintly perceive a celestial diagram of Taiji. Is that the great Tao he comprehended? The phoenix exclaimed in astonishment. The true dragon nodded, remarking, at least in this nearly 100 million years, I have not witnessed such a feat. It must be the path he has forged himself. Nurturing the mysterious womb and traversing the route of the primordial world is indeed extraordinary. Boom. A tremendous tremor reverberated as the colossal cauldron before Ji Xian was shattered and toppled onto a mound of earth. He rose, stretching his limbs. You have finally awakened, declared the true dragon statue. Ji Xian addressed the statue before him. May I depart now? Naturally, we shall not break our promise, replied the white tiger statue. Subsequently, the dragon veins beneath the earth began to seethe, with vast amounts of steam erupting from the crevices of the rocks, rising upward. Rumbling. A torrent of magma spewed forth from the ground, soaring into the heavens like divine dragons ascending. At the end of the celestial expanse, a profound vortex emerged, resembling a black hole that devoured everything around it. Ji Xian lifted his right foot, ready to step into the vortex. Wait, there are matters you have yet to resolve, called the Xuanwu statue, halting Ji Xian. Oh, what else is there? Ji Xian gazed down at the land. The white tiger statue stated, we have lifted the restrictions here. You must completely destroy us. Why? Ji Xian questioned, perplexed as to why he should obliterate them after they had granted him such an opportunity. Are you simply being obstinate? The phoenix statue explained, although you are the first person to arrive here since ancient times, you will not be the last. Perhaps after your departure, countless millennia or even billions of years later, another may arrive, seeking enlightenment and the Tao here. You have left your imprint in this place, which we have recorded. That cauldron will similarly transcribe your insights. Are you not concerned that someone might come here afterward, grasp your law, and pilfer your Tao fruit? The true dragon statue advised. With your capabilities, you could undoubtedly shake this island and destroy it. Reaching this level of cultivation is arduous. Do not permit others to steal your great Tao. Do not worry about us. We are merely a manifestation of will and do not experience pain. Ji Xian pondered for a moment, then smiled freely. He stated, I shall refrain. The opportunities bestowed upon me by you all are too precious for me to destroy. Cultivation speaks of cause and effect. I cannot act thus. Moreover, as he spoke, confidence illuminated Ji Xian's countenance. From the very inception of my Tao, it shall remain forever unique. Let those who wish to steal or draw inspiration go ahead and learn. Thus shall they forever dwell in my shadow, incapable of becoming me or surpassing me. With these words, he departed with a graceful silhouette, not glancing back as he entered the vortex. Chapter 395. The Great Marsh City. After traversing one void tunnel after another, Ji Xian arrived in a new realm. In stark contrast to the fiery atmosphere of the Hot Springs Valley, this place was exceedingly damp, with marshes scattered among the mountains and hills. Upon arrival, Ao Tian and his family parted ways with Ji Xian, stating they wished to explore the landscape together. The azure sky was pristine, and amidst the mountains, a bamboo raft floated gracefully upon the water, carried by the wind. Ji Xian sat at the rear of the raft, dipping his hand into the chilly river, caressing the small fish that swam by. Master, there is a force ahead. Should we not investigate? Dai, who was steering the raft, turned back to inquire. Having shed his animal hide attire for a clean short shirt, his muscular physique was strikingly apparent. Yes. Let us take a look, Ji Xian replied calmly. The bamboo raft drifted downstream in the direction of the wind, arriving at a town known as the Great Marsh. The houses lining the streets were neatly arranged, and the thoroughfare bustled with pedestrians, accompanied by the shouts of small vendors. Dai, having emerged from the vast wilderness, was taken aback by the unfamiliar sights and sounds, his eyes wide in astonishment. What kind of world have we entered? Dai could not help but ask. For Ji Xian, the scene was equally captivating. He observed numerous cultivators from the 9 heavens and 10 earths, hailing from the 3,000 states and the ancient Divine Valley, mingling harmoniously with the locals. Seeking respite, Ji Xian found a tavern and settled by the window, sharing a drink with Dai. Friend Ji? Suddenly, a familiar voice reached his ears. Turning his gaze, he was surprised to see Jiang Zhengyang. Please, take a seat, Ji Xian gestured grandly, conjuring an additional chair at the table. He then discreetly transmitted a message to Dai. Junior Dai, pay your respects to Emperor Zhengyang. Dai stood and offered a bow, only resuming his seat to continue eating once Jiang Zhengyang had settled down. Friend Ji, you have taken on another fine disciple, Jiang Zhengyang remarked astutely, quickly grasping the situation. He continued, it has been several millennia since we last met. At this, Ji Xian furrowed his brow, as if sensing something, and inquired, has so much time truly passed? Jiang Zhengyang appeared astonished and jested. You haven't been hiding away in slumber, have you? The ancient immortals have been in the world for over 3,000 years now. Ji Xian's expression shifted to one of realization, and he responded, it seems I have indeed been lost in sleep. He then transmitted a message to the system. Open the information panel for my disciples. Opening now, Ji Xian compared the previous cultivation levels with the current ages of his disciples, confirming that over 3,000 years had indeed elapsed. It appeared that time flowed differently in the vast wilderness and the river of time. He mused silently. Alas, Jiang Zhengyang let out a sigh, and then spoke. The whims of fate. The upheaval caused by the emergence of the immortal ancient realm has been immense. Not everyone is as fortunate as we are. Able to sit here and enjoy a drink. Ji Xian inquired, what do you mean? With a sorrowful expression, Jiang Zhengyang replied. Ji Wuxing accompanied me into the immortal ancient realm, but has become lost in the chaotic streams of time. His whereabouts remain unknown. That old fellow had little time left to begin with, and with this turmoil, our next meeting may well be in a coffin. Furthermore, Emperor Yuqi has fallen, besieged and devoured by several formidable beings of the immortal ancient. His end was tragic. The Snow Emperor has also suffered severe injuries, fleeing with her disciples into a desolate abyss, from which they have yet to emerge. Jiang Zhengyang recounted the misfortunes of many old friends, those who had fought alongside him at the Imperial Pass. Some have perished, while others have been gravely wounded. The ancient Emperor Wanru was even slain, his body refined into a magical artifact. Ji Xian was taken aback to learn that Wanru, in fact, was a disciple of Emperor Wan, belonging to the same lineage. He reflected on the fleeting passage of merely 3,000 years, a mere blink of an eye for the emperors, yet so much has transpired. In his memory, Emperor Yuqi often mingled with the ancient Emperor Wanru, but now both have fallen. In those days, whether it was for the Academy's negotiations, border conflicts, or later disruptions at banquets, these individuals stood firmly on the side of the Dao sect, supporting him. The silhouettes of a rugged man and a scholar gradually faded from Ji Xian's mind until they vanished entirely. Dai noticed the change in Ji Xian's expression and, recalling the unfamiliar sight seen on the streets, seemed to grasp something. He asked, Master, has a considerable amount of time passed? Before Ji Xian could respond, the storyteller in the tavern struck a pose and announced, Ladies and gentlemen, please listen closely, For today we recount the tale of Da-Yi shooting the suns. It is said that over 1,000,000 years ago, 10 suns appeared in the sky. Da-Yi sprang to his feet, pushing through the crowd with his robust form, and approached the storyteller, demanding, "What did you say?" Over 1,000,000 years. The storyteller, clearly intimidated by the imposing figure before him, stammered, "Sir, I assure you. It is indeed over 1,000,000 years, as recorded in the texts. My great-great-great-grandfather spoke of the same." Da-Yi ceased his interrogation, panting as he returned to Ji Xian's side and sat down. Ji Xian, deep in thought, settled into a meditative posture, dividing his soul's essence to wander the vast void. Delving into the river of time, after a brief moment, he discovered that this world possessed multiple temporal dimensions. The great wilderness, where Da-Yi resided, indeed existed over 1,000,000 years ago, yet it coexisted with this realm, the timelines running parallel without interference. Provided the river does not collapse, they remain unaffected. "Oh no. Will my wife and children all be buried?" Da-Yi lamented. Observing his panicked demeanor, Ji Xian reassured him, "Do not worry, it is merely a parallel world. Though the time differs, they do not influence one another. If we retrace our steps now, your loved ones are still alive." Upon hearing Ji Xian's words, Da-Yi's breath steadied. Jiang Xingyang seemed to perceive something and inquired, "Could it be that you too have become lost in the passage of time, wandering through the epochs?" Ji Xian shook his head and replied, "Our situation is far more stable. We have merely traversed the river of time, and our lifespans remain largely unaffected." Jiang Xingyang was taken aback by the mention of the river of time, and then remarked, "Friend Ji, your future is boundless. Throughout history, few emperors have managed to enter the river." At that moment, hurried footsteps echoed from the stairway. Jiang Ancestor, something grave has occurred." Jiang Tianxing rushed in with urgency. However, upon nearing and catching sight of Ji Xian seated at the table, he froze, hesitant to speak further. "You rascal. If there is something to say, just say it. The Emperor of the Void is not a stranger," Jiang Xingyang admonished, giving him a light pat on the head. Jiang Tianxing cautiously addressed Ji Xian, "A disciple of the Dao sect has been captured. It is Huolinger." Hearing this, Ji Xian paused, his chopsticks halting midair, and inquired, "Which fool is responsible for this?" Jiang Tianxing responded, reporting to the emperor, "It was the Divine Turtle Clan from Day City. They are a prestigious family in the north, with an emperor overseeing them. A practitioner from the Nine Heavens informed them that Huolinger possesses the Divine Phoenix Constitution, which is of great utility to the Divine Turtle Clan. A brother named Shi Tianyu has already gone to rescue her. He claims she is his senior sister." Ji Xian's demeanor shifted to one of grave seriousness, a glimmer of murderous intent flickering in his eyes. He set down his wine cup, preparing to rise and depart. Da-Yi sensed the tension and also placed his utensils down, only to be firmly restrained by Ji Xian. "Let us enjoy a few more rounds with you, esteemed Xingyang." He turned to Jiang Xingyang, saying, "I shall return shortly." Chapter 396. The shadow of the underworld. Mountain Day City, vast and boundless, lies atop the northern marsh. Surrounded by a myriad of stars, its expanse rivaling that of a star domain. In a corner of the city, Shi Tianyu wielded his Fantian Huaji, engaged in fierce combat with the masters of the Divine Turtle Clan. In the distance, the throngs of spectators grew as cultivators from the 9 heavens and 10 earths watched anxiously. Whispers filled the air. That emperor of the Dao sect is fearsome, undefeated since his emergence, and his forces sweep across the realms. Should he appear upon this land, the Divine Turtle Clan would surely meet its end. However, the local cultivators of Xiangu scoffed at this notion. The Divine Turtle Clan is a direct descendant of Xuanwu, having inherited the legacy of immortals, standing firm in the northern marsh for millennia. Through the vicissitudes of time and the rise and fall of countless eras, this power has remained unvanquished. Even if a battle of emperors were to erupt in this city, it would swiftly quell. The capabilities of the Divine Turtle Clan are astounding, and there is naught they cannot handle. "You bunch of spineless turtles, do you dare only to hide within your shells? Who dares to capture my senior sister? Step forth and face your demise." Shi Tianyu, with 6 profound vortices swirling behind him, emanated an indomitable force, armed with imperial weapons. Each strike he unleashed caused entire celestial bodies to plummet, shaking the heavens. Above, the masters of the Divine Turtle Clan cowered within a flying vessel, trembling in fear, unwilling to confront the blue-clad figure below. A group of individuals found themselves in an exceedingly vexing predicament. The Divine Tortoise Clan, a prestigious family in the region, commanded admiration and reverence wherever its members went. Yet now, they were relentlessly pursued by a formidable practitioner of the Great Sage realm. Despite the presence of several elders at the quasi-emperor level aboard the vessel, none dared to intervene. Who could devise a means to subdue this adversary? Within the ship, an ancient tortoise stood atop a stone platform, surveying the clan members below. Silence enveloped the assembly, with no one daring to respond. For the blue-clad man wielded an imperial weapon. Even the most robust defenses of the Divine Tortoise Clan seemed futile against such a threat. Charging forth would be tantamount to courting death. "You bunch of cowardly beasts. How dare you shrink back? Come forth and meet your demise." Tianyu bellowed in frustration, deeply annoyed by the retreat of his clan's members into the grand vessel forged by an emperor. unable to fully wield the imperial weapon himself. He found himself at a loss against these timid tortoises. At last, a brash young practitioner from the clan could no longer contain himself and shouted from the bow of the ship, "You, a human, wish to battle our divine tortoise clan to the bitter end? The divine phoenix physique holds exceptional value for our ancestral tortoise. It would be a blessing for her to be invited. Do not hinder her path to enlightenment and cultivation. Our clan is protected by a great emperor. Do you dare to assault us?" Time Tianyu, unwilling to back down, retorted fiercely, "What do you mean by my senior sister's blessing? Who doesn't know of my master? The Xin Emperor? Just because the celestial court has not established itself in this world does not imply its non-existence. If I cannot contend with the emperor, do you think I cannot deal with you?" As he spoke, the 6 swirling vortices behind him radiated even more brilliance, each strike imbued with 6 true intents, causing the massive flying ship suspended in the air to tremble violently. Among the crowd, several practitioners from the Nether Mountain listened intently, eager to gather any information regarding Ji Xian. It was unlikely that the emperor of the Dao sect would make an appearance. All who entered the realm of the immortal ancients had their images reflected in a void mirror platform. "I have observed that void mirror platform closely, yet I did not see the figure in white," remarked a gleaming black-bodied unicorn. On the other side, a sword-bearing man said, "Let us hope so. The movements from Nether Mountain are quite significant. Complete concealment is unattainable. We can only wish that the emperor and most practitioners, like many, have become lost in the passage of time and journeyed to other worlds. Oh, by the way, should we target that blue-clad practitioner shouting from above? He is a disciple of the Dao sect," suggested one. The unicorn shot him a disapproving glance and replied, "You are quite audacious. He wields an imperial weapon. And you dare to challenge him? We shall not accompany you to your demise." The man chuckled and said, "Indeed, let us withdraw for now. The gathering in BIs is about to commence. We cannot afford to miss it." Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Subsequently, several practitioners from the Nether Mountain donned black robes and vanished into the nearby shadowy alley. Only one figure remained, her silhouette captivating even beneath a voluminous black cloak, hinting at her alluring curves. She removed her hood, and her 3,000 strands of hair cascaded like a waterfall, revealing a breathtakingly beautiful visage. She gazed towards the blue-clad figure on the horizon and whispered, "Master has taken on yet another disciple, hasn't he?" Suddenly, she sensed a disturbance in the atmosphere. The clouds above the grand city of Days began to roil, emanating a terrifying aura. Not only she, but all the cultivators within the city felt it, instinctively gazing skyward. Boom! A colossal fiery hand descended from the depths of the cosmos, manifesting in the air and instantly evaporating the clouds for thousands of miles. The hand descended, enveloped in golden light, bearing an overwhelming intent to kill as it pressed down towards the earth. The first to bear the brunt was the flying vessel of the Divine Turtle Clan, which was grasped tightly in the golden hand. "Who dares to assault my Divine Turtle Clan?" Panic surged among the young men aboard the ship. Before the blue-clad man could retreat, a new surge of power erupted, threatening to crush them. "Is our Divine Turtle Clan so inconsequential in Days City? Do not panic. Our flying artifact was forged by an ancient emperor. No one can harm us. Remain calm." The old turtle on the stone platform called out again. Crack, crack. In the next moment, the barriers of the Imperial-grade ship began to shatter inch by inch, as golden flames breached the interior, incinerating hundreds of clan members into ash. How could an Imperial artifact be crushed? The old turtle was struck with horror. Bang! Ultimately, the ship, crafted by the Emperor, exploded in the hands of Ji Xian, disintegrating into countless fragments that rained down upon Days City. Countless houses and districts were obliterated by the debris, startling a multitude of lurking cultivators. Simultaneously, a figure clad in white descended from the heavens, locking eyes on the depths of Days City, the very territory of the Divine Turtle Clan. Who was this person? So terrifying. That ship was considered an imperial artifact of the Divine Turtle Clan, and it was shattered so easily? This area was home to many ancient local cultivators, who were all struck with awe at this scene, their hair standing on end, overwhelmed by such might. The cultivators from the Nine Heavens sighed, shouldering their bags in preparation to depart. Before leaving, they cautioned, "Speak of the devil and he shall appear. The Xian Emperor of the Dao sect is coming. Hurry and leave. This city is destined for destruction." The ancient local cultivators were left bewildered, unsure of what to do. "Must we truly abandon this place as they say, Master?" Shi Tianyu shouted, rushing forward. "Oh, Master, it's been over 3,000 years without news of you. Where have you been?" Ji Xian looked at the approaching Shi Tianyu and smiled. "I took a trip to a vast wilderness and even found you a junior brother." "Junior brother? So soon?" Shi Tianyu was taken aback. He had only entered for a few years and was already being referred to as an elder brother. At that moment, another section of the void was torn open, and a graceful figure stepped through, bowing to Ji Xian. "Greetings, Master." Ching. Ji Xian was taken aback. How had she emerged from the Ming Mountain so quickly? But soon, he realized something else. Had the cultivators from Ming Mountain also entered the ancient celestial realm? He inquired. Ching nodded, indicating that she had come for this very purpose, hoping to gather intelligence about Ming Mountain for Ji Xian. Ming Mountain wielded the flawless dark grand ritual, and their arrival would undoubtedly cause upheaval, Ji Xian thought. Quickly regaining his composure, he directed his gaze toward the divine turtle territory deep within days, vanishing from his original position. Chapter 397. The arrival of the divine tortoise clan. Deep within the city of Days stands an oval-shaped hill, sprawling across hundreds of thousands of miles. From the outside, it resembles a great black tortoise lying in repose. Upon this hill, various palaces have been erected, extending into the depths of the clouds, exuding an air of grandeur. Above, the stars twinkle and clouds swirl, harmonizing with the ethereal aura emanating from the hill. Should a master of formations appear here, they would undoubtedly be awestruck by this spectacle. This is an imposing, true immortal grand formation, despite a corner being damaged. Its power far surpasses that of a typical imperial formation, even rivaling that of a quasi-immortal grand array. Within, the ancestral elder of the divine tortoise clan sat facing two cloaked figures in black robes. Is what you speak truly accurate? I have captured an imperial heir for your scheme, and this endeavor cannot be in vain, remarked the elder, who had transformed into human form, short in stature, with white hair and beard, and a large tortoise shell upon his back. The two black-robed figures, tightly wrapped in their garments, responded, "Rest assured, esteemed friend of the tortoise. Our work in the underworld mountain is always executed with precision. The mere Taoist heavenly court is insignificant. We, the underworld mountain, reign supreme across the 9 heavens and 10 lands, and it is not for this self-proclaimed heavenly emperor to dictate terms." The elder of the divine tortoise clan remained somewhat apprehensive. He was accustomed to honesty and had never before taken action against cultivators of lower realms. If this were to spread, he would become the subject of ridicule. He opened his palm to reveal a miniature world, within which Fire Spirit was bound tightly and rendered unconscious. This woman's constitution is indeed rare. Although she is an outsider, she possesses the extraordinary phoenix blood within her. Truly remarkable. As long as you procure the Tao source for my Xuanwu clan, I shall bear any risk. Exchanging a knowing smile, the two from the underworld mountain plotted a grand scheme in their minds. Suddenly, a resounding boom echoed from afar, the force of which shook the entire divine tortoise mountain. Someone has come to invade. The elder of the divine tortoise sprang to his feet, leaning on his staff as he made his way outside. The smiles of the two underworld mountain cultivators froze upon their faces. Could it be that Ji Xian, who had vanished for over 3,000 years, had returned? In the outside world, Ji Xian's figure manifested amidst the heavens and earth. He descended directly, like a celestial deity, standing in mid-air. With a mighty stomp, he shattered the mountains beneath him. This was the divine ability of the Dharma form, elevating him to a height of tens of thousands of zhong, piercing into the clouds. A colossal foot, shimmering with golden light, descended like an immense, uncontrollable mountain, shaking the very foundations of the earth. The territory of the divine tortoise clan instantly crumbled. Mountains collapsed, and rocks flew through the clouds. Chaos erupted deep within the days. Countless tortoise clan beings perished amidst the turmoil. Who dares to intrude upon the sacred grounds of the divine tortoise clan? Came the fierce cries, as green lights shot up from the ground like lightning, tearing through the void. These were the quasi-imperial elders of the Jinwu clan, their imperial aura thick and potent, any one of them poised to step into the imperial realm. Awakening from their slumber and enlightenment, they rushed to confront the enemy. Ji Xian remained silent, exuding an air of chilling severity. His golden vitality surged forth like a vast ocean, instantly transforming the elder members of the quasi-emperor clan into a mist of blood. Within this vitality lay powerful laws capable of obliterating all. One formidable clan elder after another perished beneath its overwhelming force. Our clan's quasi-emperors are all dead. Is a great emperor here? Hurry and summon the ancestor. A young cultivator exclaimed in horror, retreating incessantly. This was a group of newly ascended saints, trembling in fear at Ji Xian's overwhelming divine presence. However, Ji Xian had no intention of sparing these youths. The divine turtle clan had provoked his ire, akin to transgressing upon his very face, and he was resolute in eradicating them. Ah no, the turtle cultivators cried out, only to be obliterated into a mist of blood within moments, having never encountered such a formidable opponent. The white-clad cultivator descended like a deity, and with but a few strikes, he utterly devastated the outer defenses of the divine turtle clan. No grand formations or defensive structures could withstand the might of his footfalls. With each impact, the very continent trembled. Mountain ranges collapsed in succession, sinking into the earth. The cultivators following behind were gripped by an icy dread as they witnessed this awe-inspiring scene. It was utterly terrifying. Who are you, daring to intrude upon my divine turtle clan? An ancient voice resonated from deep within the mountains, soon revealing a diminutive figure. Ji Xian narrowed his eyes, locking onto the old turtle. Old wretch, are you tired of living? At your age, instead of waiting for death in your shell, you dare confront a mere cultivator who has yet to ascend to emperor status? How shameless. Upon hearing this, the ancestor of the divine turtle clan was taken aback. The true master had arrived. He had long heard tales of this heavenly emperor who had vanished for over 3,000 years, believing him lost to time. Yet here he was, having just captured his disciple, and now seeking revenge. The old turtle straightened himself and said, "Ahem, regarding your disciple, I can offer you an explanation. She is not currently within our clan. You should seek her in the depths of the great marsh. Delay, and you may miss your chance." A cold smile crept across Ji Xian's lips as he retorted, "An explanation? What do you think you are? A mere old turtle just entering the 100 Shackles realm, presuming to explain matters to me? Since you refuse to hand her over, I shall annihilate your entire clan." Boom. Ji Xian made his move, his right fist transforming into a roaring dragon's head as it surged towards the ancestor of the divine turtle clan. With that singular punch, winds and thunder erupted, the surrounding space tearing apart under the pressure of his overwhelming might, revealing a chilling void. Do not go too far. The ancestor of the divine turtle clan protested defiantly, promptly summoning a circular disc, a golden turtle shell radiating an immense aura of supreme power. Boom. The two forces collided, the divine might resonating across the heavens, casting the world in a blinding white light, rendering all sight obsolete. Crack. The sound of shattering metal echoed as Ji Xian's golden fist shattered the supreme weapon, piercing through with unstoppable force. What? The ancestor of the divine turtle clan had no time to react before being struck back like a cannonball, crashing through over 100 mountains. This old turtle is surprisingly resilient? Ji Xian retracted his golden fist, momentarily taken aback. That recent strike had not obliterated the ancient tortoise ancestor. Rather, it had collided with an extraordinarily solid object capable of withstanding his divine punch. It was a quasi-immortal artifact, for although the old tortoise's cultivation was not particularly high, the hardness of its shell was nearly on par with that of an immortal weapon. Ji Xian felt a wave of silence wash over him. The imperial weapon he had just shattered was also a defensive type. He realized that this ancient turtle possessed no offensive capabilities, only defense. In the distance, the ancient tortoise ancestor emerged from the earth, gasping heavily. Dizziness clouded his vision as he spat out a mouthful of black blood. His shell, nurtured over millions of years, had become comparable to a quasi-immortal artifact, yet that punch had still gravely injured him. It was fortunate that he had devoted all his talents to defense. Without this treasured item, he would have perished instantly from that blow. The ancient tortoise ancestor thought with unease. Simultaneously, he sought to reassure himself that with a quasi-immortal artifact in his possession, he could surely endure this calamity. Suddenly, a cacophony erupted as the chest plate before him revealed a web of cracks that rapidly spread outward. No. The ancient tortoise ancestor panicked, reaching out to pick up the fallen shards and reattach them. But all was in vain. Ji Xian's lingering blood energy within him had shattered the quasi-immortal level tortoise shell. The shell swiftly disintegrated, cracking entirely beneath the gaze of the ancient tortoise ancestor, who watched in despair. Chapter 398. The annihilation of the tortoise clan and the news of Dao Source. He shattered the treasured tortoise shell of my tortoise clan. The ancient tortoise ancestor stood frozen, witnessing the impending destruction of his shell. Activate the Great Formation. He quickly assessed that this adversary was insurmountable. Boom. The mountain deep within the tortoise clan trembled and gradually ascended, revealing 4 limbs, transforming into a colossal divine tortoise. Its form was composed of unyielding mountains and rock layers, devoid of any vitality, entirely animated by divine power. The ancient tortoise ancestor muttered ancient incantations, temporarily piecing his body back together. Ji Xian's unparalleled punch had not only torn through the quasi-mortal artifact, but had also shattered his form into fragments. For now, he could only rely on ancient methods to forcefully reassemble himself. 2 esteemed ones, please come to my aid. The ancient tortoise ancestor transmitted a call for assistance to the 2 cultivators within the depths of the mountain. Yet, after a prolonged silence, no one responded. Damn it! The ancient tortoise ancestor gritted his teeth, resigning himself to oversee the Great Formation alone. In the distance, Ji Xian cast a cold gaze upon the massive tortoise that had taken to the skies. This stone tortoise bore countless palatial structures and towers upon its back, evidently the heart of the tortoise clan. Boom. He launched another offensive, his left hand executing the heaven-turn seal while his right hand performed the mountain-hugging seal, akin to a celestial deity descending to the mortal realm to annihilate all in his path. Bang, bang, bang. Several violent collisions ensued, leaving the stone tortoise driven by the ancient tortoise ancestor battered and nearly broken. A look of horror crossed his face. This stone tortoise was a treasure left behind by the immortal of the Xuanwu clan from ages past. Though it could not compare to an immortal weapon, it was steeped in numerous celestial rules, far beyond the reach of an emperor. Foolish and unyielding, Ji Xian sliced through the air with a radiant sword light, sweeping across the territory of the tortoise clan, causing countless structures to collapse and countless lives to perish at his hands. Ancestor, save me. A group of youthful disciples cried out for help, hoping that their venerable ancestor would come to their aid. The ancient tortoise ancestor's complexion was ashen. Preserving his own life was a challenge in itself, leaving him no time to attend to these younger ones. Friends from the underworld mountain, save me. He pleaded again into the depths of the vast marsh, yet no matter how fervently he called, Only the echoes of his own voice reverberated through the mountains. Huh. Collaborating with a heretical cult. Have you lost your wits, old fool? Ji Xian mocked as he unleashed boundless celestial light, mercilessly harvesting the members of the Tortoise clan as if they were mere chives. His long, dark hair danced wildly, appearing to the slaughtered disciples as a harbinger of death descended upon them. The Tortoise clan's practitioners remained blissfully unaware of the formidable enemy their ancestor had provoked. Within a mere 3 days, they found themselves besieged, subjected to an unspeakable massacre. You've gone too far. The ancient Tortoise ancestor's eyes nearly bulged from their sockets as he helplessly watched his descendants perish before him. I believe everything can be negotiated, he shouted desperately. Ji Xian paid him no heed, merging the emperor's seal with his being, transforming into an immortal sovereign, towering and resolute. As he executed an unparalleled strike upon the stone tortoise, which had been tainted by the celestial laws. Boom! With a single palm strike, the colossal stone tortoise, spanning over 100,000 miles, split in two instantaneously, causing mountains to collapse and debris to fall from the fracture. The formidable celestial laws were shattered in an instant. The grand formation dismantled. After countless millennia, this once mighty celestial array had long lost its former glory. Above the stone tortoise, countless elite members of the Tortoise clan, numbering in the hundreds of thousands, met their demise under Ji Xian's strike, reduced to ash. The ancient Tortoise ancestor cried out in anguish, gazing upon the fallen young talents, his heart heavy with sorrow. As an emperor, how can you bear to strike at these defenseless youths? Ji Xian retaliated with a swift blow, obliterating the ancient Tortoise ancestor's corporeal form into a mist of blood, while the fragment of the quasi-celestial artifact shattered into dust. Empowered by the primal divine strength, his physical form had reached unparalleled heights, capable of shaking even true celestial artifacts. With a flick of his finger, chaotic energies surged forth, cleaving through the concealed microcosm within the ancient Tortoise ancestor's soul, liberating Huolinger. Upon seeing her bound and in disarray, Ji Xian's fury ignited, and he exclaimed, "Is this what you mean by not harming the younger disciples?" The ancient Tortoise ancestor's physical form lay in ruins, leaving only the flame of his soul hovering in the air. Upon witnessing Huolinger's rescue, he stubbornly retorted, "This was the doing of a quasi-emperor from my clan. It has nothing to do with me." Ji Xian scoffed coldly, disregarding the old tortoise as a golden small figure emerged from his brow, preparing to extract the ancient Tortoise ancestor's soul. Friends, even now, will you not come forth to assist me? He bellowed into the depths of the mountains, yearning for a response. The ancient Tortoise ancestor's soul was cleaved in twain by the golden figure wielding a sword, as Ji Xian's essence infiltrated, commencing the search for the desired information. It turned out that the underworld mountain had acquired the Tao source of the phoenix, requiring phoenix blood to activate it and unlock a certain celestial treasure. In the ancient realm of immortality, the celestial phoenix had long been extinct, left with no alternatives. They sought women with similar physiques, ultimately discovering one in the form of Huolinger. Astutely, they refrained from taking action themselves, opting instead to employ the means of the Divine Turtle clan. It so happened that Huolinger was honing her skills in this city, making her an ideal target. What further piqued Ji Xian's interest was a location in the far north of Day City, known as Bi's, which was the ancestral land of the Divine Turtle clan and the former abode of the Xuanwu Immortal. It was suspected that the source of the Xuanwu Tao resided there. The elder of the Divine Turtle clan, yearning to obtain this source, yet lacking the robust means to contend with other heroes, found it necessary to collaborate with the Ming Mountain. Thus, they sought out Huoling, using her as leverage to gain assistance from Ming Mountain in their advance towards Bi's to seize the Tao source. Truly, it seemed that fortune favored them without much effort. Upon absorbing this information, Ji Xian smiled. Both the sources of the Celestial Phoenix and Xuanwu Tao appeared to be in the hands of Ming Mountain, sparing him the need for excessive journeys. He could simply seize them directly from Ming Mountain. Ultimately, the elder of the Divine Turtle clan perished in despair. At that moment, two fleeting figures emerged from the depths of the mountains, darting between the peaks and retreating into the distance. Seeking to escape, Ji Xian stepped forward, shifting the very fabric of the universe, causing all mountains and rivers to realign. This single step spanned millions of miles. With a resounding clap, a golden hand descended, instantly reducing one fleeing cultivator from Ming Mountain to ashes. Just a mere avatar, yet Ming Mountain still cloaked itself in secrecy. Ji Xian observed the dissipating black smoke with contempt. Another figure flickered, only to be met with a decisive strike from his palm. The Xian Emperor. How fortuitous to encounter the real one today. Not nearly as formidable as the legends suggest, he chuckled. Beneath the dark robes, a sinister laughter echoed. This too was the avatar of a great emperor, and before Ji Xian could muster his strength, he was obliterated by the vast surge of golden vitality, vanishing in a puff of black smoke. From his elevated vantage point, Ji Xian surveyed the territory of the Divine Turtle clan. After his tumultuous intervention, the once picturesque landscape had been irrevocably altered. Countless mountains had sunk into the earth, and numerous exquisite lakes had evaporated. Countless beings had perished beneath that golden foot. and the clan's prodigies had been reduced to mere ashes. The land within a radius of nearly 100,000 miles had subsided by several hundred fathoms, transforming into a vast basin. Amidst the ruins, a few surviving cultivators clung to life, dragging their mangled limbs and battered bodies as they desperately struggled towards cleaner ground. Seeking a sliver of hope, it was a grim tableau of human suffering. With no mercy in his heart, Ji Xian unleashed a mighty palm, driving the scorched earth of 100,000 miles deep into the ground, ensuring the complete annihilation of the Divine Turtle clan. They had not wronged him, yet they dared to harbor ill intentions towards his disciple. Thus, they deserved their fate. Looking back, he saw that the entire Day City had also suffered calamity. The devastation wrought by the Imperial battle was too horrific to comprehend, with over half of the urban area reduced to ruins. There was no reason to linger here. He resolved to seek out the sources of Xuanwu and the Celestial Phoenix. Chapter 399, The Secret Realm of Bi-Ice. In the midst of the ruins of Day City, only the small tavern where Ji Xian once stayed remained unscathed. As Ji Xian approached, Jiang Xingyang retracted the formation. Master, this is Hualing. The group gazed in confusion at the formidable figure seated across the table. Your new junior brother, Da Yi, Ji Xian introduced. Greetings, esteemed senior brothers and sisters. Da Yi, displaying keen insight, rose and clasped his hands before them before Ji Xian could finish. Shi Tianyu circled him twice, patting Da Yi's robust muscles, murmuring, this physique could rival that of Brother Ling, tall and strong. Laughter erupted among the group. Hualinger inquired of Ji Xian, Master, where is Brother Ling? It has been over 3,000 years since the emergence of the Immortal Ancient, and we have yet to hear any news of him. Ji Xian replied. He has gone to hunt the 2 holy maidens of the Godslayer dynasty. He is likely in seclusion somewhere now. So, aside from the few of you, who else has entered? Hualinger responded, they should all be in this room. Junior brother's son is chanting sutras, declaring he is preparing to break through to the quasi-emperor realm and is unavailable. Sisters Mo Yue and Mo Yuling have discovered an ancient star of fortune and are eager to establish a force there, dragging junior brother Ing Zheng along with them. We have yet to hear from them. Ji Xian nodded. While the Immortal Ancient was significant, each disciple had their unique opportunities and paths of cultivation. Master, there is another matter, Shi Tianyu spoke. Proceed, Ji Xian urged. Shi Tianyu continued. Cultivators from the outer cosmos have also entered, though I am unsure how. During my passage through the Void Passage, I encountered numerous bronze spacecraft, as well as angels and giants among other races. Jiang Xingyang interjected. They are likely here for the fabled Dao Source. Upon entering, I uncovered a secret. This grand world of the Immortal Ancient was crafted by an ancient transcendent being, leaving behind many treasures. The Dao Source is one of the most representative artifacts, tied to the celestial arts and legacies of the 4 symbols divine clan. Da Yi was astonished. With his limited understanding of civilization, he could hardly fathom that such a vast world was the creation of cultivators. Just the vast wilderness I once inhabited has birthed many immortals, disordered time and space, an expansive universe, the formidable 4 symbols divine clan. Goodness gracious, if this is true, how powerful must the one who created it be? Da Yi exclaimed in disbelief. Hualinger and the others were equally bewildered by Jiang Xingyang's words. To create immortals surely surpassed the very realm of immortality itself. What of the Xuanwu Dao Source? Have you heard anything? Ji Xian inquired of Jiang Xingyang. To be candid with you, my friend, I have come precisely for this matter. The city of days beneath us lies at the southernmost edge of the North Marsh, and the Xuanwu Dao Source is suspected to be deep within it. It is soon to emerge, and many powerful beings are already heading there. If you have intentions, we should depart at once. Very well, Ji Xian nodded, then informed Qingqing and the others to prepare for their journey. The North Marsh is a vast expanse of water, dotted with countless islands, the sky high and the waters broad, teeming with flocks of birds. After departing from Day City, Ji Xian and his companions spent over a year reaching the core of the North Marsh. Along the way, they witnessed many cultivators heading in the same direction, all drawn by the legend of the Dao Source. The spaceship traversed the skies, and the war chariots surged forward, emanating powerful auras from within. Ji Xian sensed several strands of imperial might. So many islands, Dai exclaimed, scattered like stars, even more numerous than those in the heavens. Having lived in the vast wilderness, surrounded by towering ancient trees and wild beasts, he seldom encountered such expansive waters. Ji Xian stood above the clouds, surveying the islands below, repeatedly calculating and discerning that this place was fraught with peril. The underground dragon veins crisscrossed, enveloping the entire northern marsh like a grand net from beneath. The magma flowed vigorously, with potent celestial forces coursing through it. The seemingly tranquil waters concealed a tempestuous power beneath. Ji Xian boldly speculated that should someone master the celestial momentum of this realm, these islands would transform into substantial formations, activating the dragon veins and rendering this place a site of absolute annihilation. Someone has set a trap here, he observed with keen, perceptive eyes, swiftly scanning all tangible entities in the realm. Beside him, Jiang Xingyang sensed something amiss but could not discern its nature. As he was far inferior to Ji Xian in the path of fortune, Taoist friend Ji, have you discerned anything? He inquired. Ji Xian replied, this place is a trap. Many will perish due to the loss of their Tao source. I suspect that Ming Mountain is orchestrating this. We must proceed with caution. Let us conceal ourselves and allow the younger generation to explore and seek their own fortunes. Understood, Jiang Xingyang assented. After conveying the necessary instructions, Ji Xian and Jiang Xingyang merged with the ethereal clouds, vanishing from this realm. Thus, Firelinger and her group of 5 ventured deep into the heart of Northern Marsh. In the cosmos, whether within the universe or above the clouds, the silhouettes of cultivators were abundant. The Tao source was exceedingly significant. No one could resist its allure, even in the face of danger. Look at the woman in red at the forefront. Doesn't she resemble Firelinger, who was captured by the Divine Turtle clan? A cultivator pointed out. Could it be that she is the one? Another cultivator replied, astonished. Indeed, it is her. Wasn't she taken by the ancestor of the Divine Turtle clan? How could she appear here so soon? Not only they, but many cultivators expressed their bewilderment. They all remembered the day when the ancestor of the Divine Turtle, who had been in seclusion for over 100,000 years, suddenly emerged and pursued for tens of thousands of miles, forcefully suppressing Firelinger to bring her back to the clan. This dramatically altered the cultivators' perceptions. Even the ancient emperors would show some deference, yet the ancestor of the Divine Turtle acted without uttering a word, abruptly suppressing her, which could be seen as exceedingly shameless. Alas, your information is outdated. The Divine Turtle clan has long been exterminated, and even the great Marsh City has been driven underground. A cultivator remarked. What? The crowd was astounded, and they inquired about the details, incredulous that a clan with an emperor could be annihilated. I'm not entirely sure. It's been over a year since then. I heard from surviving cultivators that an emperor came personally to suppress the ancestor of the Divine Turtle. It is said that he is the master of the fire spirit, a remarkable emperor whose reputation among the cultivators in the outside world is almost mythical. Though I have never personally encountered him, the man remarked. Hiss. The onlookers collectively inhaled sharply, most of them ancient celestial cultivators who, having lived in comfort for far too long, could scarcely fathom the fall of an emperor. The old ancestor of the Divine Turtle, a direct descendant of the Xuanwu, despite a diluted bloodline, was a being of great renown in his realm. It was shocking that he was so easily extinguished. Many cast renewed glances at Fire Spirit. Their expressions altered, as they instinctively distanced themselves, unwilling to draw near. Perhaps a great emperor lurked in the shadows, poised to strike at any moment. After all, someone capable of ruthlessly slaying an emperor could be capable of anything. Observing this, Fire Spirit pouted, saying, is it really that terrifying? My master is actually quite gentle. You know. He scratched his head, recalling the scene of Ji Xian slaughtering the demon emperor in the great wilderness. A brutal display of carnage as he feasted amidst the chaos. Is that a spaceship from beyond the realm? Sure Tianyu noticed a colossal object emerging from the clouds. Crafted from bronze and imbued with a sense of advanced technology, identical to the one encountered during the border conflict. Suddenly, the spaceship detected them, pivoting its cannons without warning, aiming at several disciples of the Tao sect. Boom. The bronze spaceship trembled violently, and a dozen cannons discharged simultaneously, unleashing a kaleidoscope of celestial light directed at the disciples. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. The group evaded in all directions, and just as they vacated the island, it was obliterated into fragments, sinking into the depths. Did the battle at the border not leave a mark on you? How dare you be so arrogant? Sure, Tianyu berated. Clang. A beam of sword light sliced through the heavens, plummeting like a vast abyss toward Shi Tianyu. Sacred light enveloped the area, scorching the water beneath as the intense radiance evaporated it. Shi Tianyu raised his weapon in defense, forcefully swinging it to repel the incoming foe. The assailant was a 6-winged angel, golden-haired and azure-eyed, her graceful form partially veiled in golden light. In her hand, she wielded a blazing sun sword, another imperial weapon, indicating her noble status among the celestial aristocracy. The Fang Tianhua halberd of the Purple Dragon Prince is my imperial weapon from beyond. And today I shall reclaim it, while also taking your head, she said. Her sinister smile contrasting sharply with her exquisite beauty as she eyed the imperial weapon in Shi Tianyu's grasp. Feel free to try. Shi Tianyu, driven by an indomitable spirit, summoned the 6 realms of reincarnation and charged forward. Meanwhile, Fire Spirit found herself embroiled in a fierce battle as formidable foes from beyond suddenly descended, catching everyone off guard. They were encircled, yet fortunately, Dai was valiant enough to face 1,000 foes alone, with the divine Bao's call. Silence fell upon all as he led his 2 senior sisters to break through. Boom. A colossal, bare-skinned giant descended from the heavens, its massive foot resembling an ancient continent, descending upon them with the intent to flatten them into a pulp. Heavens, what is that? It is far too enormous. The cultivators of the ancient realm gazed from afar, astonished by the towering figures of the giant race, whose presence was even more formidable than the chaotic deities described in legends. With great determination, Qingqing summoned a vast expanse of chaotic energy, creating a protective curtain to afford Feng Linger and Dai the space to engage in battle. Do you truly believe that such insignificant ants can withstand my assault? Roared the giant, his long hair flowing wildly, his immense form towering tens of thousands of feet, with his upper body obscured by the clouds. His eyes blazed like two suns, casting beams of light that were utterly mesmerizing. With a thunderous roar, the giant let out a bellow that resonated with a might surpassing that of primordial beasts, his imperial aura spreading forth, rendering the celestial bodies dim in comparison. This was a formidable quasi-emperor, on the brink of transcending to the status of an emperor. Suddenly, a tremendous force of chaos converged in the heavens, embodying the very essence of creation. Qingqing channeled the chaotic divine essence, unleashing her full power through her chaotic form, delivering a ferocious punch that tore a gaping wound in the giant's chest. The giant cried out in agony, his colossal body swaying dangerously as if on the verge of toppling. "You wretched beasts of the 9 heavens and 10 earths, witness as I claim your life," he intoned, even as he was gravely wounded, his heart still clinging to the meager pride of his race. "I shall fulfill your wish." Qingqing's spirit surged even higher, enveloped by an overwhelming primordial force. This was a cataclysmic power, after years of cultivation on Ming Mountain, accompanied daily by the primal essence of the universe. She had grasped some of the primordial forces of creation. Kill. The primordial energy transformed into a colossal hammer, crashing down. Immediately afterward, Qingqing soared into outer space, directing her power toward the giant's head, intent on delivering a lethal blow to the behemoth. The giant swung his fist, but was thwarted by the pervasive primal essence enveloping the cosmos. Qingqing acted swiftly, dispatching the giant with lethal precision. His immense form crumpled, plunging into the marsh below with a resounding crash, causing the entire North Marsh to tremble in shock. "My heavens, she possesses a chaotic physique, truly unprecedented," a distant cultivator exclaimed in horror. "This woman is incredibly formidable. No one could have anticipated that this seemingly delicate and beautiful woman harbored such a terrifying constitution. The source of all power lies in chaos. Should she ascend to the status of an emperor, she would indisputably annihilate any peer of her generation, rendering them forever in her shadow." Before the Xuanwu Dao source could emerge, chaos erupted in its wake. The disciples of the Dao sect clashed fiercely with the heavenly prodigies from beyond, drawing in other cultivators who joined the fray, igniting a fierce battle. Many cultivators were eager to forge alliances with the Dao sect, covertly lending their assistance, while others watched with cold detachment, hoping for the demise of several prodigies to alleviate the burdens of this era's path to enlightenment. Deep within the North Marsh, on an island, the cultivators of Ming Mountain remained vigilant, monitoring the unfolding situation outside. Let them fight. The more intense the battle, the better the outcome of the grand ceremony. Came a chilling laugh from beneath a black robe. "Hey, fifth brother, have you sensed the presence of Jixian?" Another figure cloaked in black emerged, similarly gazing towards the battlefield as if in search of something. The fifth palace master remarked, "What does it matter whether he comes or not? The Xuanwu clan's celestial artifact, the Water King's shield, is already in our possession. Even if he arrives, we shall be prepared." The sixth palace master replied, "It is wise to remain cautious. Should he appear, we must promptly activate the Great Array, enveloping the entire North Zay." The fifth palace master responded, "Rest assured, I have taken that into consideration." "Have you located the head of that celestial?" "This is pivotal to our grand design for Ming Mountain. It has been confirmed to be deep within the earth of North Zay, which is quite unexpected. The corpse of our Ming Mountain celestial lies here." The sixth palace master said. Boom. A tremendous sound resonated from the distant battlefield, an overwhelming pressure tearing through the heavens as the imperial weapon fully revived, commencing its deadly rampage. Excellent. The chaos grows ever more delightful. Let the battle rage on. The more tragic, the better. Everything in North Zay is under our control. No matter how many of you flood in, you are mere sacrificial pawns. The fifth palace master laughed maniacally, his gaze fixed upon the billowing black smoke and the pervasive scent of blood, becoming increasingly twisted as he seemed to revel in the carnage. He turned to the sixth palace master, saying, "Let our forces join the fray. Unseal part of North Zay's celestial treasures, and compel the hidden emperors to reveal themselves. Only with ample sacrificial offerings can we gain more." Indeed, it is time. The sixth palace master vanished, and countless figures surged towards the heart of the conflict, intent on stirring the waters further. In the distance, the battle intensified. The outworld cultivators suffered grievously at the celestial gate, placing the blame entirely on the disciples of the Dao sect, leading to an unrelenting clash. The Dao sect disciples, wielding imperial weapons, stood firm against the onslaught. Each one was extraordinary. Despite the overwhelming numbers of the outworlders, they could not gain any advantage. Some cultivators from the 9 heavens and 10 earths joined the fray, assisting the Dao sect disciples in their resistance against the outworld army. Damn it! This celestial ancient treasure should belong to the 9 heavens and 10 earths. How did these outworlders gain entry? A severely injured cultivator, watching the relentless advance of the outworld foes, seethed with indignation. What should have been their fortune was being disrupted by these intruders. Suddenly, a bull demon wielding a massive hammer descended, shattering the body of the cultivator into pieces. then extending its hind leg to crush his primordial spirit. Clang! At this critical moment, Fire Linger charged in, dispatching the bull demon's head with a single stroke of her sword. Before it could react, she immediately began to search its soul. Moments later, fury etched across her beautiful face. She exclaimed, "These despicable traitors! They were born in the 9 heavens and 10 earths." Upon uncovering the truth, Firelinger was filled with wrath. It turned out that numerous beings lurking within the Forbidden Zones were intrigued by the secret arts of the Dark Grand Rite. What had spread from the explosion of the outworld deities was merely the foundational text. These individuals were willing to open the gates of the 9 heavens and 10 earths to these outworlders in pursuit of further teachings. Once my master returns, he will quell all Forbidden Zones. She clenched her fists, her heart ablaze as she surveyed the thousands of enemies before her. Kill! The divine phoenix unfurled its wings, captivating the heavens anew as she re-entered the battlefield. Thus, the great conflict persisted for nearly 3 months, resulting in a staggering number of corpses, ultimately staining the waters a deep crimson. The wreckage of shattered warships and the colossal remains of giants floated upon the surface, their immense size rendering them unable to sink. A grim tableau of human despair unfolded, as the true opportunity had yet to reveal itself, yet 2 formidable factions erupted into fierce conflict, leaving one to ponder the futility of it all. Boom. At long last, after nearly 6 months, a range of towering mountains emerged from the depths of Northzay. Majestic and imposing, boundless celestial light erupted forth, dazzlingly bright, piercing through the thick sea mist, allowing onlookers to glimpse that magnificent brilliance. The Xuanwu Celestial Repository had come into existence. An exhilarated uproar ensued, as both warring sides instinctively ceased hostilities, converging toward the heart of Northzay. Chapter 401. The Quest for Treasure. New disciple information. In the depths of Northzay, a series of mountains appeared, ethereal and insubstantial, seemingly woven from resplendent celestial light. An overwhelming force of time and space surged across this vast ocean, awakening the realization among the cultivators that these divine mountains were remnants left by the Xuanwu immortal. Should anyone ascend them, they would gain the true legacy of Xuanwu. With unspoken understanding, the combatants halted their hostilities, rushing toward the mountains. However, soon some began to sense an anomaly. No matter how they flew, the distance between themselves and the mountain remained fixed, never diminishing. They were worlds apart, merely spectators. What was this predicament? Was the emergence of the Celestial Repository still distant? A bewildered cultivator inquired. All were left in a state of confusion, even the proud extraterrestrial visitors, as the bizarre circumstances compelled them to exercise caution. When it comes to immortal legacies, a moment's inattention could lead to demise. Ah, wait, look at them. An observant cultivator noticed that several disciples from the Dao sect were steadily advancing toward the Celestial Mountain, and among the extraterrestrial visitors, some also approached slowly. Unlike their previous aimless haste, they were enveloped in an aura of mysterious power. Both temporally and spatially, they drew near the Celestial Mountain at a visibly accelerated pace. It is the Imperial weapon. Only those who wield the utmost power can enter that realm. Those with keen eyes discerned this truth. How could this be? Countless cultivators felt disheartened and disappointed, having exerted themselves for so long only to learn that only those who mastered the highest power could attain the legacy. Imperial weapons could only be forged by emperors, and not all sects were graced with the presence of an emperor. Even fewer possessed the ability to utilize their own imperial weapons. This formidable barrier extinguished the treasure-seeking dreams of many. Immediately, more than half the cultivators resolved to retreat, no longer wishing to pursue the path ahead. Yet in the next moment, an unexpected occurrence transpired. Boom! From the depths of the cosmos, an enormous hand descended, shattering the clouds and disrupting the natural order, advancing toward the mountains in the distance. Retreat! Tianyu and the others immediately withdrew. The hand that struck was undoubtedly that of an emperor, yet its aim was not directed at them, but rather at the great mountains of Northzay. Under the astonished gazes of the multitude, a colossal hand traversed the vast ocean, seizing a mountain towering at 20,000 zhang within its palm. As the hand retracted, piercing through the misty sea fog, the onlookers finally discerned the visage of the Celestial Mountain. Merely a corner of it had passed by, igniting envy in countless hearts. They observed with clarity the several medicinal plants enveloped in ethereal energy, the towering immortal trees reaching for the heavens, and the crystalline dragon fruit glistening in the light. My heavens! Even just a fragment of the mountain revealed 3 or 4 immortality herbs. How many treasures must the entire mountain harbor? Some cultivators gaped in disbelief, unable to fathom the reality before them. No, look over there, someone exclaimed, directing the attention of the fellow practitioners to a burial site for swords nestled in the mountainside. The sword mound was densely packed with swords, each emanating an overwhelming aura of authority. Among them were numerous quasi-emperor weapons and a single emperor weapon. The emergence of a celestial mountain, even just a fragment, had incited envy among countless cultivators. It was nothing short of a divine trove. Yet, their envy was tempered by the knowledge of the hand's owner, a great emperor. With their abilities, engaging in a struggle for these treasures would be akin to courting death. Suddenly, from another direction, A heavenly blade radiating flames soared forth, cleaving towards the colossal hand. With a resounding thud, the hand was severed, and the celestial mountain plummeted into the water, creating towering waves. The Qin Emperor, how dare you seize my belongings? The owner of the hand revealed himself, a regal lion-like creature, crowned with dragon horns and engulfed in terrifying lightning. Fortune favors the strong. You must understand this principle, ancient emperor of the lion. On the other side, a great emperor clad in a crimson dragon robe appeared, a figure of the human race, with a square, dignified visage, armed with a formidable heavenly blade. He exuded an aura of murderous intent. This was no ordinary emperor weapon. Upon witnessing the emergence of these formidable forces, the assembled cultivators instinctively recoiled. Battles of this magnitude could easily reduce them to ashes. Kill! The two titans roared, clashing in a fierce confrontation. Their speed transcended limits. As they battled into the depths of the cosmos, then back to the northern realms, the spectators could scarcely perceive their forms, only witnessing countless afterimages. The overwhelming force of their conflict reverberated through the universe, capable of obliterating everything in its path. In an instant, the boundless sea was drained, countless islands shattered. The realm transformed into a desolate wasteland, where even the slightest misstep could lead to annihilation. Just as despair began to settle among the onlookers, an extraordinary event unfolded. The clash between the two great emperors fractured the forbidden domain, obliterating the prior conditions which required mastery of extreme power for entry. The cultivators of the Saint Realm glimpsed a glimmer of hope, their fervent gazes fixed upon the majestic celestial mountains in the distance. Driven by the age-old adage that men die for wealth and birds for food, a handful of fearless cultivators soared upon their swords into the perilous zone, testing the waters. Ultimately, one managed to navigate through the treacherous expanse, nearing the fabled shore. The crowd could no longer remain still. A surge of eager souls rushed towards the celestial mountains. Their vessels, divine palanquins, and exotic beasts densely filling half the skies. Amidst the clouds in the distance, Ji Xian observed everything keenly. He remarked, "The trap set by the underworld mountain is indeed cunning. Those two emperors likely remain oblivious to the fact that they have been manipulated. One link leads to another. First, the cultivators are plunged into despair, only to later be offered hope, compelling them to rush fearlessly into the heart of danger. Little do they know, that is where the deepest abyss lies." Suddenly, Jiang Xingyang manifested his presence and spoke to Ji Xian, "Fellow Taoist, an anomaly has occurred. The islands beneath us are beginning to stir. It seems that the celestial formation you mentioned is about to activate, intending to ensnare everyone here." Ji Xian looked down and observed the islands on the sea gradually shifting, aligning themselves in a systematic manner along the dragon vein. These islands appeared to have come to life, greedily absorbing the floating corpses and the blood seeping into the ocean. The dark grand ritual, how sinister. The ancient celestial mysteries are indeed formidable. The audacity of the underworld mountain is beyond ordinary bounds. Narrowing his eyes, he gazed towards the distant, severed celestial mountain. The two emperors clashed, utterly neglecting that mountain, which was brimming with treasures. Consequently, Ji Xian extended his chaotic hand and grasped the celestial mountain. Suddenly, a beam of black sword light surged from the depths of the cosmos, aiming to sever Ji Xian's hand and thwart his acquisition of the mountain. This was the action of an emperor lying in wait, seeking to seize the opportunity. "Begone!" Ji Xian roared, his long hair billowing behind him like a furious lion. Golden vitality surged forth, overwhelming the northern region below and striking directly at the sword light. In an instant, the black sword light was extinguished, and the vitality continued its relentless advance into the cosmos. A cry of anguish echoed from the depths of the heavens. The lurking powerhouse had evidently suffered severe injuries. Ji Xian held the celestial mountain in his palm, examining it closely. He discovered that, aside from being laden with treasures, it was also one of the focal points of the formation beneath his feet. After some time, he noticed that deep within the majestic celestial mountain, a dark seed lay hidden within the rock layers, capable of instantaneously devouring its bearer and transforming them into a creature of darkness. Truly insidious, Ji Xian scoffed. The underworld mountain had always maintained a low profile, rarely surfacing in the eyes of the world, yet its methods were exceedingly treacherous, willingly acting as a catalyst for the tide of darkness. Next, Ji Xian opened the celestial eye on his forehead and, following the focal point of the celestial mountain in his hand, directed his gaze underground, uncovering a shocking sight. A celestial head. Strangely, this was not a corpse, but rather a head undergoing some form of reincarnation, Ji Xian murmured. Deep beneath the earth, beneath the dragon vein, a celestial head lay buried, adorned with countless reincarnation marks that preserved its vitality. Just then, the system's notification sound chimed. Disciple information retrieved. Would you like to view it? Yes, Ji Xian replied. The head of Emperor Fengdu is currently in a state of reincarnation. This is merely one of its lifetimes. If one can locate its reincarnation divine fetus, one can successfully take it as a disciple. Where is its reincarnation divine fetus? Replying to the host, it is in the realm of the Yellow Springs. Chapter 402. Great turmoil, the realm of the Yellow Springs? Ji Xian was momentarily taken aback, feeling a vague familiarity as if he had encountered or heard of this place before. Could it be from there? He recalled the scene of slaying the boundless Ghost King in the void, where he witnessed mountains of corpses and seas of blood. A crimson moon hung overhead, and a vast river of reddish yellow emerged from the mountains, flowing towards the edge of the heavens. In the haze, a celestial bridge spanned the river, connecting the realms of life and death. In the depths of that place lay a grotesque, ghostly infant with black-red skin, beckoning to him across the infinite expanse of time and space. That was the present incarnation of the Emperor of Fengdu, my future disciple. Upon reflecting on these memories, he grasped the truth. Everything has its destined course. According to the cosmic order, the end of the heavens is the azure sky, while the end of the earth is the Yellow Springs. The azure sky marks the culmination of the 9 heavens, and the culmination of the 10 earths is the Nether Mountain. The vast universe of the 9 heavens and 10 earths lies nestled between these 2 realms, an expanse teeming with countless beings. It seems I should visit the Nether Mountain after I emerge, Ji Xian mused. Boom. Within the North Zhe, a larger scale of chaos erupted, as yet another emperor manifested from the depths of the universe, reaching out toward the distant celestial mountains. One by one, more and more treasure mountains were unearthed, all containing celestial treasures and secrets of longevity, prompting many ancient figures to grow envious and restless. Kill. While the Emperor of Dechun and the ancient Emperor of Swan and I were engaged in battle, they remained vigilant of the movements of the celestial mountains. They stood at the heart of the battlefield, near the waters surrounding the celestial mountains, momentarily pausing whenever an imperial fluctuation emerged, uniting to repel the newcomers. My friends, have your appetites grown too large? With so many celestial mountains, your presence here is rather inconvenient for us. An elder emerged from the void, clad in a white ceremonial robe, wielding a golden scepter, and adorned with 10 pairs of white wings, clearly a pope from the angelic race. Indeed, the emperors of the 9 heavens and 10 earths, you have overstepped your bounds. Another supreme being stepped forth, tall and clad in technologically advanced armor, emanating a powerful imperial aura. Behind him, rows upon rows of cosmic fleets followed, overwhelming in number, akin to a 1,000,000-strong army poised to conquer the universe. Our celestial treasures in the 9 heavens and 10 earths are not for you outsiders to meddle with. The Emperor of Dechun snorted. Being an ancient emperor of the human race, he harbored disdain for certain individuals from the Forbidden Zones, naturally looking down upon these foreign visitors. Though the ancient Emperor of Swan and I did not voice his thoughts, he glared fiercely at these external foes, a vast wave of murderous intent permeating the air, rendering the sea breeze chillingly sharp. Arrogance. The old pope made his move, wielding his scepter, as the divine phantoms behind him towered thousands of feet high. Each step he took caused the heavens to tremble and the seas to collapse. The armored powerhouse followed closely behind, his arms sprouting numerous ominous cannon barrels aimed at the 2, unleashing their lethal strikes. Boom. The entire North Zhe erupted in chaos, as the 2 supreme beings unleashed their might, capable of shattering half the universe. Were it not for the celestial-grade protective formations safeguarding North Zhe, it would have long since exploded from the ground into the void. The 4 great emperors clashed fiercely, causing countless towering mountains to collapse and the celestial bodies of the sun, moon, and stars to shatter, plummeting to the earth like meteors. Simultaneously, the cultivators in the sacred realm were entangled in their own struggles. As the celestial mountains soared above, the fluctuations of imperial power caused many rare treasures to plummet into the sea, including elixirs of immortality and unparalleled divine sources. The battle reached a fever pitch, devoid of inter-factional conflict, with each individual fighting for their own treasures, descending into chaos and bloodshed, shrouded in darkness devoid of light. Meanwhile, faint glimmers flickered upon the water's surface, mingling with scattered islands. If one were to gaze down from the sky, they would notice that all these lights combined formed a grand formation encompassing all the combatants. However, in their frantic pursuit of treasure, none paid heed to this detail. Warning: a vast amount of dark essence is converging. It is advisable to take preemptive action to avert future calamities. The system issued such a warning, signaling danger, as Ji Xian was also within this vicinity. Yes, I am aware. No need for haste, Ji Xian replied calmly. A thick mass of clouds gathered in the sky, and fierce winds whipped across the water's surface, giving rise to a crimson tornado, accompanied by chilling cries that echoed hauntingly. The once beautiful North Zhe Ocean had transformed into a desolate wasteland, a torrent of bloodlust coursing through it, and the sky appeared to rain down a strange crimson hue. The winds howled, tousling Ji Xian's dark hair as he stood resolutely in white garments, his gaze fixed deep into the battlefield, as if awaiting something significant. In the cosmos, powerful beings who had not engaged in the battle sensed the shift and began to extend their consciousness to probe, only to be repelled by an enigmatic force. Finally, a soft sound emanated from within Ji Xian, as he retrieved a small imperial coffin he had seized at the North Sea, cradling it in his palm. It is time. His eyes gleamed as they focused on a particular spot. Suddenly, through the heavy mists, a piercing scream broke the air as a middle-aged man wielding a knife burst forth, his hair disheveled and his golden crown teetering on the brink of falling. The Emperor of Dachun was ensnared by a strange force, staggering towards the sea in a panic. His face contorted in agony, and he desperately flailed an object in his hand, attempting to cast it away. Upon closer inspection, it was the celestial mountain he had obtained. The mountain appeared to come alive, brimming with vitality, as peaks crumbled, cliffs fractured, and massive abysses emerged, expanding rapidly. Ultimately, it transformed into a stone head, swallowing the Emperor of Dachun whole. No, what is this? He cried in despair as he vanished from sight. Witnessing this scene, everyone felt a chill run down their spines, their hair standing on end. What manner of dark force could devour an emperor whole? It is the power of darkness. The angelic pope from beyond the realm recognized the ominous force immediately, urging his disciples to retreat swiftly, seeking to exit this domain. Though they possessed the secrets of dark alchemy in their universe, they dared not confront such an entity directly. This is indeed a substance capable of devouring even celestial beings. A lethal force for the emperor. Boom. The mountain that consumed the emperor of the Great Chun erupted. Dark energies surged from its core, burning like black flames, gathering in the sky. Subsequently, the water surface beneath began to boil and swirl rapidly, forming a colossal whirlpool, stretching over 100,000 feet wide. Roar. From the depths below, a terrifying roar reverberated, striking fear into the hearts of all. It was a soul-piercing cry, growing ever closer, akin to the most fearsome demon god battering against its confining prison, yearning to break free and stain the world with blood. Everyone began to retreat, trembling in the presence of such power. The emperors too felt this, acutely aware that a potent celestial force was on the verge of emergence. Yet, the celestial being instilled profound unease within them. At last, a monstrous entity burst forth from the water's surface. To their horror, they discovered it was merely a human head. What on earth is that? Some, upon glimpsing the head, bled black from their orifices and collapsed, transforming into a pool of foul blood, expiring on the spot. Retreat swiftly. Fire Spirit and the others commanded their imperial weapons to hastily flee, momentarily withstanding the celestial might with their ultimate powers. Racing towards the position left for them by Ji Xian. Run quickly. It seems he is about to awaken. Someone cried out in terror, their soul nearly escaping them as they scattered in all directions. In the midst of it all, the head suspended in the air became discernible. Long black hair obscuring its face, yet faintly revealing the visage of a human. The head spoke, its heavy eyelids slowly lifting. Instantly, a malevolent aura enveloped the area, and countless eerie specters erupted from the whirlpool, mercilessly devouring those small cultivators who failed to defend themselves. Boom. In that very moment, Ji Xian manifested, wielding the small imperial coffin, charging towards the head. Chapter 403. The dark seed. The black wind howled as chaos erupted in the North Zay. Tens of thousands of cultivators falling the instant the celestial head emerged. A terrifying presence permeated the world, and merely coming into contact with it could spell death. The powerful emperors retreated at breakneck speed, discarding the celestial mountains they had painstakingly acquired. Despite their immense reluctance, they had no choice. Should the dark seed buried within the mountain awaken, they would perish here, becoming the nourishment for the rebirth of that head. The fate of the Emperor of the Great Chun served as a grim lesson. Roar. The celestial head slowly opened its eyes, surveying the surroundings with a gaze that emitted an ethereal white light, while it exhaled endless darkness. Its long black hair shrouded its face, adding an air of mystery to this celestial being. Finally. Behind, the fifth palace master laughed heartily, astonished at how smoothly events were unfolding. If this continued, not only the head but also other parts of the celestial being could be discovered. Sacrifice everything to resurrect the Emperor of Fengdu. And with the 9 palaces of the underworld, we shall dominate the 9 heavens and 10 lands. Meanwhile, the 6th palace master chuckled quietly to himself. In the ordinary course of events, Mingshan maintained a remarkably low profile, enduring everything with restraint. However, today heralded a promising beginning, signaling a stable yet progressive trend. Suddenly, an overwhelming aura of annihilation surged forth, causing the presence of Emperor Fengdu to diminish drastically, as an absolute force suppressed him, halting the spread of celestial might. Who could it be? The 5th palace master, filled with fury, activated the heavenly eye on his forehead to gaze ahead, where he beheld a figure clad in white. Standing with a coffin, a colossal hand descending to press upon Emperor Fengdu's head. That coffin, in the presence of the manifested divine might of Ji Xian. The 5th palace master disregarded him entirely, focusing all his attention on the bronze coffin held aloft by the figure. It was indeed the little emperor's coffin, finally revealed to the world once more. Behind him, the 6th palace master also opened his cold, piercing eyes, fixating on Ji Xian. Summoned the tide of darkness to suppress him and reclaim that coffin. Commanded the 5th palace master, for the little emperor's coffin held immense significance for Mingshan, containing the entirety of Emperor Fengdu's life, serving as a fragment of a celestial artifact. Once united with the main coffin, the unleashed power would reach apocalyptic proportions. Suddenly, over a dozen shadows surged forth from behind the fifth palace master, wielding forbidden artifacts capable of manipulating darkness, preparing to form an array to disrupt Ji Xian. Meanwhile, Ji Xian exerted his own strength to suppress the head before him. He sensed the overwhelming celestial might emanating from Emperor Fengdu, a terrifying force that far surpassed any he had encountered in the 9 heavens and 10 earths. In terms of level, it eclipsed even the corpse of Dijuan atop the Fusang Divine Tree. Upon his arrival, Ji Xian captivated the attention of all present. The surviving cultivators desperately fled, yet he alone charged toward that dreadful head, wielding the coffin to exert control, exhibiting remarkable valor. The emperors beyond the realm instantly harbored murderous intent. For this individual had slain several emperors in the border war, even beheading a deity, causing them significant losses. The cultivators of the 9 heavens and 10 earths were seized by a chilling shock. After 3 millennia, the Xian emperor emerged within their sight. The rumors of his disappearance into the annals of time crumbled under scrutiny. This was the true celestial corpse. The Dijuan upon the Fusang Divine Tree was likely a mere manifestation of celestial essence. In the midst of the scene, Ji Xian pondered this, as the disparity in sensation between the two was stark. Although only the fractured head of Emperor Fengdu was manifested, the power it radiated was 100-fold that of the ancestral Dijuan. He needed to exercise caution. He must not shatter it, lest he lose his next disciple. Ji Xian endeavored to control his strength. His physique had transcended the realm of emperors, capable of shaking celestial artifacts with bare hands. And he genuinely feared that a single slap might obliterate the head before him. He intended to seal this head within the emperor's coffin, to study it meticulously upon his return, seeking a means to unravel the cycle of reincarnation. Suddenly, an eerie black light illuminated from all directions, and thick black mist began to rise from the sea, enveloping Ji Xian completely. The onlookers retreated in alarm, their expressions betraying fear at the sudden emergence of this dark power. Deep down, they sensed that this terrifying force seemed to be manipulated by an unseen hand. Swiftly, the dark forces coalesced into a surging tide, crashing toward Ji Xian. This was undeniably a scene steeped in despair. Each drop of darkness threatened to ensnare the soul, transforming one into a being of shadow. Surrounding Ji Xian was an expansive ocean of despair, rendering survival seemingly impossible. Master Hualing and the others felt a tightening in their chests, though they understood their master was capable of facing such a predicament. Witnessing it unfold instilled a palpable anxiety. Do not fret, my dear friends, Jiang Xingyang reassured them. Ji Daoyu has informed me that he has everything under control, in every corner of the heavens and earth. Some cultivators were anxious, while others harbored ill intentions, secretly reveling in the chaos. On one side of the dark mountain, the fifth palace master wore a cold smirk. Why did he not flee? Was escape impossible? He chuckled. If I were the emperor, I would rather end my own life than endure this torment. Yet, a bewildering spectacle ensued. Faced with the engulfing tide of darkness, Ji Xian not only refrained from retreating, but resolutely charged forward into the abyss. Boom! A cataclysmic force erupted, tearing a gaping hole in the black tide. Ji Xian stood with arms wide, enveloped in celestial energy, the formidable power of primordial chaos surrounding him, isolating him from the encroaching darkness. The surface of the sea was tumultuous, shrouded in mist, and the air was thick with murderous intent, echoing the anguished roars of ancient deities, instilling dread and impending collapse. Ji Xian upheld a luminous barrier, strikingly visible amidst the chaos, resembling a seed emerging from the soil in a time of turmoil, taking root in the darkness to resist all that threatened him. At intervals, the dark tide was even repelled, gradually dimming in its ferocity. Ji Xian's actions not only quelled the darkness encircling him, but also benefited every cultivator residing under this starlit sky, including mortals. For once darkness began to spread, it would become uncontrollable, and it would not be long before the entire realm fell into despair. The fifth palace master's smile froze, and the jade object he had been toying with slipped from his grasp, shattering upon impact with the ground. How could this be possible? If even immortals cannot withstand the darkness, how can a mere emperor? He stumbled forward, retrieving a map crafted from human skin, inscribed with intricate divine symbols. This was a secret method to manipulate the darkness. The fifth palace master scrutinized it, realizing he had overlooked no steps. Even the sixth palace master was taken aback. Since the demise of the Fengdu emperor, they had worshipped darkness for millions of years, and today, it felt as if their entire belief system had crumbled. Should we fully activate the celestial formation? I fear the emperor's head may be seized, the sixth palace master proposed. The fifth palace master shook his head, responding, not yet. There is another strategy we can pursue. Chapter 404. Slaughtering the extraterrestrial enemies, the 2 emperors of the Dark Mountain. What? The celestial mountain upon Ji Xian remains untouched by darkness. He has acquired a celestial treasure. The voice of the fifth palace master echoed throughout the realms, reaching the ears of all. His heart harbored malevolence, seeking to eliminate Ji Xian through the hands of lurking, powerful entities. In an instant, as darkness erupted, All celestial mountains were cast aside, save for the one held by Ji Xian, which remained suppressed. Celestial treasures clanged and jingled above, emanating an enticing aura. In that fleeting moment, several ancient stars deep within the cosmos unleashed their imperial might, their formidable divine consciousness crashing forth like a tidal wave, enveloping the space where Ji Xian stood. Suddenly, an unparalleled existence indeed made its move, attempting to seize the celestial mountain. Ji Xian, however, remained remarkably composed, his icy gaze freezing all within the realm, shattering the incoming divine light. Yet, such a counteraction did not deter the other formidable powers. More extreme forces targeted Ji Xian, advancing with lethal intent. These rogue practitioners, despite their master having curtailed the spread of darkness, remained fixated on those celestial mountains. Shameless. Fire Spirit was incensed, stomping her foot in frustration, secretly cursing the emperors who had intervened 1,000 times. The other disciples shared her indignation, internally denouncing those individuals, vowing that had they ascended to emperor status, they would never engage in such despicable acts. To think they have the audacity to bully me. A cold smile crept across Ji Xian's lips as he suddenly turned, surveying the vast expanse, exuding an unmatched aura of invincibility. In the next breath, he moved, vanishing from his original position as silently as a gentle breeze. Bang, bang, bang. Soon, the sounds of combat reverberated from the depths of the universe, where powerful energy fluctuations erupted in the unseen starry sky. A chorus of anguished cries soon followed, hoarse and faint, echoing a sense of despair. Boom. An astonishing commotion ensued as countless metal fragments tore through the clouds, plummeting into the northern marsh, stirring tumultuous waves. From their appearance, it was evident that one fragment emanated the essence of divinity, a golden scepter, a formidable divine weapon, now shattered. Heavens, those are fragments of imperial weapons. What transpired in the outer cosmos to shatter even imperial artifacts? Someone gasped in horror. The crowd erupted in confusion, at a loss for words, all realizing that Ji Xian had become enraged. Suddenly, a disheveled old man tumbled from the clouds, his hair tousled and garments tattered, his 10 pairs of wings behind him completely severed, stained with copious amounts of blood. His visage was grotesque, half of his head blown off. Teetering on the brink of death, his divine fire flickering ominously. Boom. From behind, a chaotic hand descended, seizing the body of the angelic pope. No, do not kill me. I was unaware you were a deity. Forgive me. The old pope cried out, a once revered figure now pleading pitifully like a stray dog. Did you really not know I was a deity? How dare a mere supreme being utter such words? If I were also a supreme, would you dare to bully me? What of my dignity as the heavenly emperor? Ji Xian clenched fiercely, causing the old pope's body to explode, his divine fire shredded by the surrounding malice. The onlookers felt a chill run down their spines. A supreme emperor had been slain just like that. In the distance, other unparalleled existences witnessed this scene and promptly turned to flee. Ji Xian's display of overwhelming strength was disconcerting. The ability to crush a supreme being with a single hand left them uneasy. Yet, imagination remains merely imagination. With a sweeping gesture, Ji Xian unleashed the cosmos, causing countless stars to erupt and obstruct the path of the supreme being. This entity, clad in advanced technological armor, turned to Ji Xian, a flicker of fear igniting in his eyes. Are you intent on annihilating us? I advise against such a course. A rugged voice resonated from within the mech. Ji Xian, with hands clasped behind his back, advanced, each step reverberating through the realm. He replied, I suggest you refrain from advising. In a flash, the figure in white traversed the fabric of time and space, arriving before the entity, extending a colossal hand to subdue him. A mere whisper of divine might descended, and blood erupted, staining the mech's visor. Unable to withstand the pressure, the being hastily summoned a blue laser sword, striking towards Ji Xian's neck. With a swift motion, Ji Xian extended 2 fingers, seizing the technological weapon, and with a resounding crack, he crushed it. In an instant, his eyes emitted 2 terrifying bolts of energy, obliterating the head within the mech. Subsequently, Ji Xian soared through the celestial expanse, vanquishing many more adversaries. However, apart from the 2 recently fallen supreme beings, the remaining foes were merely manifestations of their true selves, not present in this realm. Upon returning, Ji Xian focused his attention deep within Bi's, recalling that the emperor of the underworld resided there. With a thunderous crash, the celestial realm collapsed, leaving behind but a fleeting shadow of Ji Xian as he plunged into the hidden sanctuary of the underworld. There, a floating head remained, beneath which an imperial coffin hovered, exerting its oppressive force upon him. Countless treasures lay scattered, shimmering under the light, creating an illusion that was indistinguishable from sunlight reflecting upon water or the sacred radiance emanating from the treasures themselves. No one dared to move. The Emperor of Dachun served as a cautionary tale, having sacrificed himself in the darkness at the cost of his imperial command. He is coming. The 5th Hall Master gazed at the approaching white light in the sky, cold sweat cascading down his brow. Despite the bravado, the anxiety was palpable. From the words of the angelic pope, it became evident that Ji Xian had ascended to divinity. Both Hall Masters were merely at the 100 Shackles realm. Though formidable within the underworld, they were but fragile before a deity. Before long, the figure in white descended upon the large island where the underworld cultivators resided. As Ji Xian appeared, the entire sea began to tremble. He unleashed his immense vitality unabashedly, causing all cultivators below the imperial level in the underworld to explode. Unable to withstand the overwhelming pressure. You certainly have the audacity, the fifth Hall Master remarked, shedding his robe and removing his hood, revealing a grotesque visage of a three-headed, six-armed demon monkey, his pallid monkey face exuding an unsettling aura of treachery. Ji Xian approached slowly, the ground fracturing beneath him. The sun and moon trembling as though on the brink of collapse. Do you truly believe you can eliminate me? The very forces of heaven and earth are under my command, and I possess the celestial artifact. By what right do you challenge me? Is it merely because of an imperial coffin? The fifth Hall Master retreated continuously, yet his bravado remained unbroken. Ji Xian, shrouded in silence, continued to elevate his aura, appearing increasingly formidable in the eyes of the fifth Hall Master. Observing the demeanor of the fifth Palace Master, Ji Xian chuckled, you should recover. I still prefer your previous defiant look, the one where you seemed intent on plotting against me. Ultimately, the fifth Palace Master retreated against a cliff wall, with no avenue of escape. Feeling the overwhelming divine aura emanating from Ji Xian, the fifth Palace Master began to tremble. His towering stature drenched in sweat that streamed down uncontrollably. Gazing down at Ji Xian, who was hardly taller than his calf, an unexpected fear arose within him. As Ji Xian approached, the ghostly visage of the fifth Palace Master suddenly contorted into a sinister smile. He ominously laughed. Do you truly believe that I am the only emperor here? Just then, Ji Xian seemed to sense something, turning his head. In that very instant, the sixth Palace Master appeared behind him, wielding a shield and aiming a strike at Ji Xian's head. The energy radiating from the shield indicated that it was a flawless celestial artifact. Ha ha ha, you are still too young. No matter how strong you are, can your flesh rival that of a celestial artifact? Prepare to be smashed into pulp. The fifth Palace Master cackled. A deafening explosion erupted as celestial might surged forth. Ji Xian's head was obliterated, and his body shattered under the divine force. Ha ha. The fifth Palace Master laughed, his face becoming increasingly grotesque. Having eliminated a long-standing adversary that had plagued Ming Mountain for years. Ah, old five, something seems amiss. Came the voice of the sixth Palace Master amid the smoke. What is it? The fifth Palace Master wiped away the tears from his eyes, laughing with abandon. This Ji Xian is merely a doppelganger. The sixth Palace Master shouted. What? Impossible. If it were merely a clone, it could not unleash such formidable divine might. The fifth Palace Master's heart sank as he hurried forward. Gazing at the dissipating smoke and the lingering celestial energy upon the ground, he could not suppress a shiver. Could it truly be just a doppelganger? How could a mere clone have slain several supreme beings? We are already in the 100 Shackles realm, merely a hair's breadth from the mythical realm. How could a divine doppelganger possess such oppressive power? He could not help but exclaim, astounded and outwitted despite his cunning. Suddenly, the sixth Palace Master cried out in agony. The fifth Palace Master looked up to find the sixth Palace Master's head gripped tightly in a colossal hand, immobilizing him completely. You wish to crush my head? Here. Take this. With that, the hand closed, and the sixth Palace Master's head exploded, his primordial spirit annihilated by the surging celestial light. As the blood mist dissipated, Ji Xian's figure materialized, his eyes sharp as an eagle's, coldly fixating on the ghostly-faced monkey in the distance. The fifth Palace Master gasped, hastily raising the celestial shield before him, shouting, Do not come any closer. Chapter 405. The Celestial Array on an Island Deep Within the North Zay. Ji Xian relentlessly pressed forward, cornering the fifth Palace Master into the most confined space. Are you truly intent on forcing me? Your Taoist sect disciples have not suffered any casualties. This is enough. Let us each take a step back. You return to your Taoist sect as your heavenly emperor, and I will return to Ming Mountain as my palace master. Wouldn't that be mutually beneficial? Why must we linger here in such entanglement? The fifth lord, his visage pale as death and lips crimson, presented a horrific sight despite his apparent plea for mercy. Ji Xian advanced silently, each seemingly mundane step heralding imminent dread. The ocean roared furiously, surging skyward as though to engulf this realm. Ji Xian dismissed the monkey-faced fiend's deceitful words, for he sensed the dragon vein beneath the earth boiling with potent celestial power brewing ominously. This wretched monkey sought to strike with lethal force while he was unsuspecting. With a resonant hum, Ji Xian swung his golden hand, radiant divine light flickering, more resplendent than the sun itself, crashing against the shield-like celestial artifact with a thunderous sound. In an instant, the shield trembled violently, raising a curtain of water in defense. With several powerful strikes, the Water King shield quivered as if on the verge of disintegration. Clang, clang, clang. Repeated impacts shattered the first layer of the shield's defenses. Although it did not inflict substantial damage upon the artifact, the fifth lord below bled from all 7 orifices, his bones shattered, collapsing helplessly. He was utterly astounded. Could there truly exist an emperor capable of contending with celestial artifacts barehanded? Glancing back, the towering cliffs and vast plateaus had been leveled, reduced to mere mounds of earth. With a final, decisive punch, Ji Xian sent the Water King's shield hurtling away. The fifth lord was propelled like a severed kite, and with a resounding explosion, his corporeal form burst apart in midair. Were the divine truly invincible? The fifth lord was struck with terror. Ji Xian had grown far too swiftly. And with the second and third lords absent, it seemed no one could contain him. Ahead, a figure clad in white loomed larger, nearly touching the clouds. Ji Xian refrained from manifesting his divine aspect, for the fifth lord was already filled with dread. The man before him, draped in snow-white garments, was far more fearsome than any specter from the underworld. You cannot kill me, he bellowed with unwavering resolve, seemingly resolved to confront Ji Xian in a battle to the death. Oh, is it finally upon us? Ji Xian halted, a flicker of anticipation igniting within him. The fifth lord's primordial spirit returned to its rightful place, coalescing his corporeal form once more, enveloped in a shroud of black flames for a dark sacrifice. He was offering himself. A piercing scream echoed. The fifth lord cried out in agony, for while the practitioners of the Dark Mountain revered darkness, he had never truly experienced it. By sacrificing himself, the fifth lord activated the chaotic yin-yang formation below. The Water King's shield levitated, transforming into the focal artifact of the formation, as two strands of celestial fire emerged, spiraling around. Upon closer inspection, they were the sources of Xuanwu and the celestial phoenix. Xuanwu symbolized water, while the phoenix denoted fire. As one yin and one yang inverted and swiftly merged, the starry expanse trembled. Boom, boom, boom. The phoenix flames erupted, celestial might surging forth, transforming into a phoenix soaring through the heavens, leaving trails of relentless fire that annihilated all in its path. Within moments, countless miles of waterlands were incinerated, leaving only half still intact. Water and fire, oppositional forces, delineated by the cosmos, formed a serpentine curve in the space between them, splitting the yin and yang. The outer realms stirred, countless cultivators alarmed, rushing out recklessly. In the skies, water and fire clashed, annihilating all. As the ethereal forms of the phoenix and the black tortoise, two divine beasts, manifested, instilling terror within their ranks. That was the source of the Tao. The supreme beings lurking in the shadows were stirred, having searched long and hard. The source of the Tao had emerged on its own, reigniting their desire to seize the treasure, just as they were preparing to withdraw. After all, this was the inheritance of immortals. No one could resist its allure. Boom. Immediately, a newly ascended emperor dashed forth, aiming for the suspended phoenix Tao source, extending a mighty hand to seize it. The hand soared across the vast heavens, shattering all barriers, grasping the phoenix Tao source firmly. Success. The new emperor of the Ming Tao realm rejoiced, yet before the divine fire in his grasp could warm, another calamity unfolded. The head of Fengdu, suppressed by the small imperial coffin, suddenly opened its eyes, unleashing a dragon-shaped beam of light that pierced the darkness, slashing towards that outstretched hand. Puff! The beam transformed into countless strands of chaotic sword light, severing the new emperor's palm, cleaving his entire right hand in two. Ah! The new emperor screamed in agony, attempting to retract his hand to heal himself, yet something far more lethal emerged in an instant, leading to his demise. It was an ancient vine stretching over 100,000 miles, adorned with verdant leaves and vibrant gourds. It surged forth from the sea of flames, soaring into the sky like a winding dragon, crowned with a divine flower, observing all below. Heavens, it is a celestial herb. The supreme beings lurking in the shadows couldn't help but exclaim. Who could have anticipated the sudden appearance of a celestial herb at this juncture? Oh, Ji Xian's eyes sparkled. After the Fuso divine tree, another celestial herb had manifested. But soon, another spatial disturbance occurred, and the Fuso divine tree also emerged. In the boundless cosmos, a phantom world appeared, where a towering divine tree stood, radiating intense flames, opposing the ancient vine in a yin-yang dynamic. The great wilderness realm transcended over 1,000,000 years of time and space to manifest here, surprising Ji Xian. Ha ha ha, are you stunned? The fifth hall master still retained a trace of his primordial spirit, commanding the Water King's shield to ascend, surveying Ji Xian from above the sea of clouds. In this hall, I possess two sources of the Tao, a celestial artifact, and two celestial herbs. Once this yin-yang chaotic formation is established, even immortals may not escape unscathed. Taoist sect Heavenly Emperor, today I shall eliminate you. The waters of the black tortoise and the fires of the phoenix. Symbolizing the water-based ancient vine and the fire-originating Fuso divine tree, all four celestial artifacts emerged. The fifth hall master roared, summoning the head of the Fengdu Emperor, along with the small imperial coffin, to bear down upon Ji Xian. Faced with such a ferocious assault, Ji Xian finally mustered some spirit, ascending to confront the darkness. His body rapidly enlarged, his dharma form manifesting to towering heights of tens of thousands of zhang. Clad in white, he gazed unwaveringly at the Water King's shield. On the battlefield, he would not allow anyone to look down upon him from above. Do you think you can rival this hall in momentum? With all these celestial artifacts unleashed, the entirety of the 9 heavens and 10 earths shall tremble. You are incapable. The 5th Hall Master chuckled coldly, infusing more power into the severed head. Roaring. It seemed that the Emperor of Fengdu had truly awakened, letting out a thunderous cry that reverberated through the heavens, causing the stars to tremble. The lurking powerful beings in the distance, upon hearing this sound, immediately decided to retreat. A dead immortal is no longer an immortal. Ji Xian's eyes crackled with lightning as he gently waved his hand, summoning gentle waves of water that effortlessly blocked the incoming head with the force of 4 ounces, diverting 1,000 pounds. This head was related to a disciple in the future. Ji Xian did not wish to cause any harm, so he transformed the power of the lunar essence to shield it. Boom. In the next moment, he summoned the might of the heavenly thunder, transforming into a silvery bolt of lightning that pierced into the immortal formation. Are you a fool? Instead of avoiding the immortal formation, you dare to dive right into it. The 5th Hall Master scoffed, igniting the gathered yin and yang power, preparing to deliver a fatal blow to Ji Xian. Chapter 406, Water God Vine. An enigmatic heavenly Tao response on the outskirts of BIs. All cultivators had retreated there, focusing on the situation at the center of the battlefield. My heavens, 2 strains of immortal medicine and even a source of Tao. Is this the inheritance of immortals? Who could have anticipated such treasures? An excited young cultivator exclaimed. Yet it was merely idle excitement. A group of people pointed and discussed what they would do if the immortal medicine fell into their hands. In a corner, only Da Yi wore a grave expression, anxiously staring at the heart of the battlefield. How could the great wilderness appear here? The thought of his family still being there pained him. Those in the center of the battlefield might very well perish due to this conflict. Yet, at this moment, his greater concern was Ji Xian. With so many items comparable to immortal artifacts emerging, could his master withstand it? Da Yi murmured to himself. If he cannot hold on, then he should not try. Within the heavenly formation, the 5th Hall Master's soul fire resided within the Water King's shield, mercilessly mocking Ji Xian, who was struggling below. In a tumultuous sea of energy, the dual forces of water and fire clashed violently. The immortal might overwhelming. Even an emperor would meet their demise within. Ji Xian floated like a flickering point of light within this chaos. As he charged midway, he suddenly halted, not out of fear of the murderous intent above, but because he sensed a subtle connection with this world. How curious. What is the matter with this ancient vine? Ji Xian stared in bewilderment at the old vine, which appeared to be favoring him. I have met the emperor. After waiting so long, I finally see you. The old vine communicated secretly, its tone imbued with excitement, as if they were long-lost acquaintances. You know me? Ji Xian inquired. Haha, not at all. The old vine laughed. Upon seeing Ji Xian prepare to strike it with his sword, the old vine quickly replied, Great Emperor, do not be alarmed. I wish to join you. Take me away from here. Ji Xian clicked his tongue. It was indeed a rare occurrence for an immortal medicine to actively seek a master. This was a being capable of reviving the dead, yet now it presented itself voluntarily, pleading for Ji Xian to take it away. Do not worry, Great Emperor, without me, this small formation cannot sustain itself. As long as you agree to take me with you, I will immediately help you break through it. The old vine expressed its sincerity, seeing Ji Xian trapped within the formation, promising to assist him in breaking it. No need, you should perish here, I can manage on my own. Upon concluding his words, Ji Xian produced the Chaos Bell, placing it atop his head, preparing to dismantle the formation. A supreme celestial artifact. The moment Old Vine beheld the Chaos Bell, his countenance transformed with shock. Father, adoptive father, divine being, I implore you, take me away. I can wash your clothes, cook for you, serve you tea, even bear your children. In an instant, Old Vine's tone shifted from negotiation to desperate plea. Ji Xian could not suppress a chuckle and inquired, then tell me, why did you choose me in the beginning? Old Vine, compelled to speak the truth, replied, adoptive father, it is because you possess a pure essence of world power, intricately linked to this ancient celestial realm. The world is on the brink of profound change, and my survival here is uncertain. I need someone to rescue me. Oh. Ji Xian expanded his spiritual senses and indeed discerned strands of world power clinging to him. What is world power? In essence, it is the heavenly principle. However, this revelation only deepened Ji Xian's confusion. From his observations and experiences, the ancient celestial realm existed as an independent universe, separate from the myriad heavens and earth. Why would the heavenly principle seek him out, attaching itself to him? Could it be due to the divine ranking? Ji Xian retrieved the divine ranking. Yet the artifact showed no signs of response, indicating that this hypothesis was incorrect. Gradually, Ji Xian realized that this heavenly power seemed to transcend time and space, not originating from the present temporal juncture. It must be that the forces of the Dao sect from the future had invaded the ancient celestial realm. Ji Xian could only rationalize it this way. Perhaps at some future point, a dark upheaval would erupt within the ancient celestial realm, and he would return to quell the chaos and seize control of the cosmic dynamics here. Please, adoptive father, agree to my request. If I remain here, I shall perish. Old Vine beseeched. Very well, Ji Xian consented, Having already scrutinized Oldvine's body with his divine sense and found no anomalies, he appeared to be a flawless celestial herb. He then discreetly summoned the system to examine Oldvine's information. Water God Vine, an immortal herb, capable of emanating pure water power. Its fruit, a colorful gourd, possesses remarkable utility, serving as material for refining celestial artifacts, imperial weapons, and Dao treasures. Adoptive father, I shall swiftly dismantle this trivial yin-yang formation. Oldvine chuckled mischievously. Jixuan shot him a disapproving glance at the title, stating, no need, I shall handle it myself. As he summoned the Chaos Bell, he cast a fleeting glance at the Fusang Divine Tree, noting its stillness, and chose to disregard it. What is happening with Jixuan? Has he perished within? No. That would spoil the fun. My celestial formation has yet to be fully activated. He must not die. The ghost-faced monkey, in a fit of anxiety, yearned to descend and ascertain the situation. Well, perhaps it's for the best. Perish, perish. Only in your demise can the Nether Mountain find peace. He continuously reassured himself while casting furtive glances below, hoping Jixuan would appear, begging for mercy. Despite his fearsome appearance, the monkey's nature remained playful and mischievous. Suddenly, the resounding chime of the bell reverberated, shattering all his illusions. The sound was clear and melodious, instantly resonating across the myriad realms, emanating an unparalleled force of heaven and earth. Even the formidable Water King's shield, an artifact of celestial origin, trembled and inclined forward, as if in reverent worship. What was happening? The Fifth Palace Lord's primordial spirit flickered uneasily. Upon the emergence of the chime, he felt an overwhelming urge to kneel. Boom. Below, the sea of water and fire erupted in a cataclysmic explosion as the chaotic bell burst forth above Jixuan's head. He struck the interior of the bell repeatedly, its resonance transforming into powerful sword lights that shot forth, instantly sending the Water King's shield flying. What on earth is this? The Fifth Palace Lord was taken aback. That bell was terrifying, capable of propelling the Water King's shield away. Oldvine also emerged, following closely behind Jixuan. The Fusang Divine Tree remained hidden in the shadows, manifesting a strand of spiritual awareness that traversed time and space to observe Jixuan. Though it did not yield, it did not pose a threat either. What in the world is happening? Has the celestial medicine betrayed me? The Fifth Palace Lord was bewildered. This was not the scenario he had envisioned. The deities within the celestial medicine had long since been annihilated, a fact he had verified. Oldvine seemed to perceive the intent of the soul fire within the Water King's shield and chuckled. A mere child of the 100 Shackles realm dares to pry into my essence. You are not worthy. Above Jixuan, a black grand bow materialized in his hands, the Xianming Annihilation Bow. He barked, rebellious monkey, it all ends here. Yet another supreme celestial artifact, my adoptive father. I adore you. Oldvine leered mischievously. A chill ran down Jixuan's spine, yet he drew the bowstring and released the arrow. The chaotic pressure immediately radiated outward. The Xianming Annihilation Bow, a harbinger of destruction, summoned immense Xianming power, capable of piercing the very heavens. I still have celestial artifacts. The Fifth Palace Lord shouted, maneuvering the Water King's shield with his spiritual consciousness, preparing to defend, yet his voice quivered with evident panic. For the Water King's shield was trembling violently, as if struck with fear. Clang. Then, a scene that filled him with dread unfolded. The white arrowhead pierced through the Water King's shield, creating a gaping hole and pinning the entire shield to a distant star. The Xianming power surged into the inner realm of the Water King's shield, enveloping the Fifth Palace Lord. Below, the seething dark energy was swiftly subdued by Jixuan. The Fifth Palace Lord was already at his wit's end. Even without deploying the primordial power, this darkness posed no threat to him. What treachery is this? Why has the grand momentum of heaven and earth in my grasp vanished? He cried out. Only then did Jixuan realize that an increasing amount of heavenly Dao power clung to him, beseeching sanctuary, burdened with myriad uncertainties. Jixuan pointed and extinguished the Fifth Palace Lord's soul fire. Chapter 407. The Great Wilderness Enigma. Creating one's own realm, the anguished cries of the Fifth Palace Lord reverberated across the Northzay lands, marking the fall of a mighty emperor of the 100 Shackles realm. Despite commanding a celestial-grade formation, he could not stir any waves before Jixuan, who wielded supreme celestial artifacts. The vast heavens were shrouded in thick smoke, where water vapor and fire energy intertwined, plunging the realm into darkness. The Dao sources of the Phoenix and the Xuanwu entwined, giving rise to boundless yin and yang energies. Come forth. Jixuan waved his hand, binding the two Dao sources within his grasp, rendering their struggles futile as they remained ensnared in his palm's dominion. He then shifted his gaze towards the distant clusters of celestial mountains, abundant in treasures that exuded an alluring aura. With a single step, it was as if he transcended centuries. Time unraveled, and the void trembled, allowing him to swiftly arrive atop the celestial peak. This mountain truly embodied the essence of the celestial realm, its rich spiritual energy condensing into droplets that formed a shimmering pond, glistening like resplendent jewels upon the hillside. Divine treasures, imperial weapons, and elixirs of immortality dazzled Ji Xian's senses, the verdant forests teeming with the breath of eternal life. Yet, these treasures held no utility for him. The myriad divine tree remained indifferent to artifacts beneath the celestial grate, draped in white garments. He strolled amidst the mountains for an undetermined duration, ultimately discovering a cave dwelling left by the ancient Xuanwu immortal. The profound aura of the celestial path enveloped him. Merely inhaling its essence caused the restraints of his cultivation to begin to loosen. It was an exceptional sanctuary for refining one's skills. However, just as he intended to approach, an anomaly resonated from the outer cosmos, revealing the forms of several supreme beings. "Fellow Taoist, please hold," one called out. "What is the matter?" Ji Xian replied, casting a cold glance back at them. These individuals were mere projections of their true selves, armed with weapons, likely coveting the celestial treasures. "Fellow Taoist, the lineage of the Xuanwu immortal has long since perished, and its descendants have been lost to the world. Now that the celestial mountain has reemerged, why not join forces to revitalize it together?" Spoke one specter, seated beyond the heavens, surrounded by a powerful flow of temporal laws. Clearly, he hailed from a different era of the celestial antiquity. "Indeed, fellow Taoist, though you are a deity, you must be preoccupied with various matters. Allow us to handle this, and it will spare you time and trouble," he continued, though his gaze lingered on the treasures strewn across the celestial mountain. "Haha, fret not. Esteemed ones, my heavenly court is vast and prosperous, lacking for nothing," Ji Xian dismissed with a wave of his hand. "The heavenly court," a supreme being gasped, their eyes reflecting a newfound trepidation. "Are you perhaps of the demon race?" Their voice tinged with deep apprehension. Ji Xian scoffed. "Does the heavenly court of the demon race even compare to my imperial dominion? I am the emperor of all races. What is a mere demon to me?" With that, the divine sealing list materialized in his right hand. With a gentle push, boundless celestial light erupted forth, advancing toward the gathered supremes. Several supremes gasped in shock, transforming into beams of divine light as they hastily retreated. Yet, no matter their efforts, they could not escape the encompassing reach of the celestial brilliance. Boom, boom, boom. A cacophony of explosions erupted as the bodies of several supremes disintegrated, devoid of any bloodshed. Only the mournful cries of the great Tao echoed in the aftermath. Standing upon the celestial mountain, Ji Xian's slender form radiated an aura surpassing the ancient peaks, embodying a spirit capable of sweeping across the realms. He turned his gaze toward another direction, where the starry sky lay desolate, everything returning to nothingness. In an instant, multiple figures fled, vanishing from the ancient star. These are formidable beings lurking in the shadows. The emergence of the divine list startled them, causing them to flee into the depths of the cosmos without a backward glance. A hum reverberated through the air as the vast expanse of the great wilderness grew increasingly ethereal, summoned by the celestial might, transcending time and space to span the distant heavens. The sacred Fusang tree swayed gently, and a radiant sun appeared within Ji Xian's line of sight. A graceful woman emerged from its brilliance and bowed respectfully to Ji Xian. She spoke, though her words did not traverse this realm. The connection between Bi's and the great wilderness, separated by infinite time and space, allowed only an image to reach him, a miracle in itself. Yet, Ji Xian sensed that this woman was the manifestation of the sun he had once created in the great wilderness. Indeed, that enchanting figure was his very own sun. How much time had elapsed for the sun to attain sentience? Ji Xian pondered, momentarily unable to discern whether she had come from the future or if he had been away from the immortal era for an eternity. Ultimately, he concluded that this was the great wilderness of endless epochs, as he could feel the aura of the immortals. "Take care, master, we miss you dearly." The great wilderness had vanished, yet the voice of the sun goddess lingered in Ji Xian's ears. "He, what a melodious name. Surely it was not I who bestowed it." Ji Xian smiled, now aware of the sun's name. This space-time was peculiar, harboring profound secrets. Yet Ji Xian chose not to delve deeper, prioritizing his cultivation instead. With a resounding clang, the little emperor's coffin autonomously secured the head of Emperor Fengdu and floated before Ji Xian, clearly more attuned to him than to the Mingshan. The pierced celestial artifact, the Water King's shield, was also drawn forth, which Ji Xian transformed into a pendant, threading it through a cord to hang at his waist. The cave of the Xuanwu immortal was impeccably tidy, featuring a clear spring, a meditation mat, and a wooden table, with sunlight occasionally streaming through the cave's apex to illuminate Ji Xian. As expected, this cave housed the true essence of celestial martial arts, which would be far more beneficial to him than the treasures scattered across the mountains. The Xuanwu Dao Source and the immortal Phoenix Dao Source were promptly refined, transformed into two monumental mountains that anchored the other corners of the Taiji diagram, becoming part of Ji Xian's Dao fruit. The water god vine shrank to a few feet in length, eagerly trailing behind him. After the great battle, Ji Xian relinquished his imperial reign, entrusting everything to his disciples for resolution. With the emperor absent, none could contend with them. Jiang Xingyang also sought a serene location to enter seclusion for cultivation. The outbreak of this conflict was swift, and its dissolution even quicker. Indeed, while it may have seemed rapid, the reality was that few had survived. Countless cultivators perished in the tide of darkness, and many more were ensnared by the heavenly formations, used as sustenance, eternally buried in this place. In due course, a millennium passed. The life of a mortal is but a century, thus, 1,000 years equates to 10 lives. However, for someone of Ji Xian's caliber, a millennium was merely a fleeting moment. During this time, he absorbed and refined all martial truths, completing the forging of the divine platforms for the remaining paths of chaos, creation, and swordsmanship, ultimately ascending to the divine realm. Now, he truly stands at the pinnacle of myth. Merely a step away from entering the final realm of the Emperor's domain, the Transcendence Realm. If only it were that simple. Ji Xian opened his eyes, feeling somewhat speechless. As it turns out, when he attempted to enter the Transcendence Realm, an invisible pressure from the heavens was closing in, obstructing his ascension to this state. The reason for this, ultimately, lies in the fact that during his ascension to Emperor, he defied the Great Path, even shattering the wheel of samsara while condensing the myriad divine trees, forging a path that transcended the very fabric of existence. In his heart, he believed that a cultivator ought to contend with the heavens, achieving enlightenment and immortality, freely traversing between worlds. What was self-inflicted harm in the name of cultivation? Immortals are still human. If one were to harm oneself, akin to the once mighty Kunping Emperor, could they still be deemed invincible? It was this conviction that led the ancient cultivation system to begin rejecting him, manifesting only today. Unable to enter the Transcendence Realm. From Qi refinement to tribulation transcendence. From sage to semi-emperor, and finally from understanding the way to Dharma manifestation. In the collective consciousness, this system likely predates the very history of the heavens and earth. Yet now, it stands as an impediment to Ji Xian, preventing his passage. How absurd. What are you to block my entry? Ji Xian felt a surge of pride. Having lived freely for millennia, it was rare for him to utter a curse. Immediately, a bold thought emerged in his heart, to create a realm of his own, to forge a grand chariot behind closed doors. However, he was immediately stumped by the first hurdle. What name should he bestow upon this newly conceived realm? Before long, a century passed, and still, he had not settled on a name. Alas, he sighed heavily. Ji Xian also realized that perhaps his previous success in naming the essence of martial arts was merely a stroke of luck. The system seemed to mock him ruthlessly, as if it knew his thoughts. No matter, I shall proceed and create it. Ji Xian ceased his hesitations, internalizing a strand of his primordial spirit, transforming it into a celestial blade imbued with the essence of longevity. He aimed for the checkpoint of the Transcendence Realm on the trunk of the myriad divine tree and swung the blade with determination. Chapter 408. The Realm of Freedom. On the myriad divine tree, the branches and leaves flourished, surrounded by great stars and ancient star realms. Although it resided within Ji Xian's body, it soared to an unfathomable height, with a single leaf rivaling entire star systems. At this moment, Ji Xian's primordial spirit morphed into a celestial blade infused with the essence of longevity, striking down towards the checkpoint of the Transcendence Realm. With a thunderous clash, the sound echoed, and as Ji Xian struck down, the entire tree began to tremble violently. It pained me to the core. Ji Xian furrowed his brow, feeling a wrenching pain. The checkpoint of the Transcendence Realm, though seemingly useless, was nonetheless a part of him. This blow could indeed be considered self-inflicted harm, he mused wryly. While other powerful beings received divine blades from the heavens to sever mortal thoughts, he was the one wielding a blade against himself. Open, give way to me. With each successive strike from Ji Xian, the checkpoint of the Transcendence Realm began to loosen, and on the pure white beam appeared a multitude of cracks. Suddenly, the essence of the great Tao surged forth. Having just broken through to the pinnacle of the mythical realm, he was on the verge of another breakthrough. Boom. At that moment, deep within the heavens, the sea of thunder roiled, and crackling lightning tore through the cosmos, manifesting above the celestial mountain. The force of the thunder was exceedingly fierce, as if the heavens themselves were enraged, poised to descend and punish the sinners. Cultivators from tens of millions of miles away beheld a humanoid shadow appearing above the clouds, glaring fiercely towards the depths of Bi's. My goodness, is someone undergoing a tribulation? Such overwhelming thunderous might. Those cultivators near Bi's trembled in fear. The clawing lightning could collapse the heavens and shatter the universe. Merely gazing upon it felt as though their very beings would be torn asunder. Yet, at the heart of the thunderstorm, Ji Xian understood that this was not a tribulation at all. Rather, his actions in altering his cultivation realm had provoked the heavens, summoning divine punishment. The heavens were not merely manifestations of the Tao. They embodied a will that transcended the myriad realms, existing for eons. Bang! The celestial mountain erupted, and a figure clad in white soared into the sky. Ji Xian locked eyes with the shadow above the clouds. Lightning danced within his gaze. Even in the face of the heavens, his aura remained undiminished, brimming with the power to sweep away all. Boom! Everything unfolded with remarkable swiftness. The humanoid shadow looked down upon Ji Xian and, without uttering a word, unleashed a palm strike. This was divine punishment. A retribution for those who dared to alter the rules. What are you, some insignificant manifestation of the heavens? There are no heavens in this world. Ji Xian remained unafraid, unfurling a grand Tai Chi celestial diagram. Though not perfected, it hovered like an unfathomable abyss. Yin and Yang harmonized, the four symbols encircled, seemingly capable of devouring all paths of the world. Boom. A tremendous sound erupted, as if the world was on the brink of annihilation. All that was visible to the eye was an overwhelming expanse of white. Flee. Countless cultivators scattered in panic, the destructive aura instilling dread in their hearts. Even from hundreds of thousands, or even millions of miles away, they felt the shockwave. Whoosh. After a mighty strike, Ji Xian exhaled deeply. His white garment had burst apart, yet his body remained unscathed. Damn it, you really came, didn't you? Ji Xian glared at the humanoid shadow. That last strike had undoubtedly exceeded what even an emperor could endure. Had a transcendent emperor of the feathered ascension realm taken that blow directly, they would have been obliterated, reduced to nothingness. The humanoid shadow remained silent, delivering another palm strike imbued with thousands of thunderous forces, intent on executing Ji Xian, this anomaly. The Tai Chi celestial diagram re-emerged as Ji Xian ascended defiantly, battling the so-called embodiment of the heavens. The clash persisted for an indeterminate duration. The several celestial mountains left by the Xuanwu immortal were utterly ravaged, and the lands of Beis lay in ruins. The once vast waters had vanished, replaced by craters carved out by the relentless lightning. After enduring hundreds, even thousands of rounds of thunder strikes, Ji Xian's divine body grew ever more radiant, enveloped in a powerful celestial light. When he gazed once more at the humanoid shadow, a cunning smile graced his lips. Bring it on. I am on the verge of a breakthrough, he said mischievously. A grand thunder tribulation, capable of annihilating the heavens and the earth. With each strike lethal to any being at the emperor level, was treated by him as a trial. Snap. The heavens shattered, and the humanoid phantom remained expressionless, delivering a single, unfeeling strike, while the surging lightning grew increasingly ferocious. How splendid. Ji Xian's black hair danced wildly as he placed his hands on his hips, facing the descending bolts of lightning. He opened his mouth and inhaled, drawing all of it into his body. This was an exceedingly perilous act. The tribulation of thunder was one of the most terrifying forces in existence, a phenomenon from which ordinary cultivators would flee. Yet, Ji Xian swallowed it whole. Here, take it back. The sound of his Tao reverberated across the heavens and earth, resonating with profound intensity. Ji Xian exhaled a stream of golden lightning, unleashing it towards the humanoid phantom. It transformed into a colossal golden dragon, soaring with the momentum of conquering the ancient skies. With its massive claws, it roared, causing countless stars to explode, rendering entire regions of the cosmos devoid of color. In an instant, the humanoid phantom was pierced by the dragon, erupting into a cascade of energy, leaving only traces of indomitable divine will. While all tremble before the heavens, fearing its retribution. Today it seems as if I am the one meting out punishment. Ji Xian gazed at the dissipating divine essence, and his arm morphed into a celestial blade, infused with the breath of immortality, striking downwards. Boom. With that singular blow, he cleaved a massive rift through the universe of the immortal ancients. The thunder surged, and the divine essence of the heavens rapidly vanished, returning to the void. He had succeeded in delivering a strike against the celestial realm at this level, carving out his own path of immortality, distinct from other cultivators. Within him, the fractured barrier was enveloped by lightning, continuously mending itself. Ji Xian had reshaped the barrier, sculpting it into the form he desired. A path of chaos emerged, devoid of distinct levels, leading directly to his head. Upon reaching it, he would ascend to immortality. What shall I name it? Ji Xian pondered thoughtfully. Perhaps inspired by his recent conflict with the heavens, he felt compelled to obliterate the so-called will of the celestial. Finding freedom in the world. Let it be called the realm of freedom. Buzz. As he uttered these words, a golden path descended from the clouds, landing at Ji Xian's feet. Ah, how considerate. Ji Xian felt quite pleased with the responsiveness of the heavenly principles, which seemed to draw close to him. At his current level, he could obliterate the cosmos with a mere gesture, tearing apart the heavens, indistinguishable from true immortals. In this state of freedom, Ji Xian walked forward, hands clasped behind his back, as the golden path retracted automatically, elevating him into the clouds. He inhaled deeply, gathering an immense amount of spiritual energy from all directions. After a satisfying belch, his newly attained cultivation stabilized. The realm of freedom bore no rigid divisions from 1st to 10th level, or early, mid, and late stages. It existed in a state of chaos, entirely reliant on Ji Xian's own will to cultivate. In simpler terms, it paralleled the realm of quasi-emperors, where seizing the opportunity for breakthrough permitted immediate ascension to the next level. Draped in white robes, he stood above the clouds, surveying the vast mountains and rivers below, his gaze shifting with the ebb and flow of the stars and celestial bodies. After a long silence, he finally spoke. The time has ultimately arrived. Through the remnants of the Yin-Yang heavenly formation, Ji Xian sensed a profound surge of dark power. He understood that the age of darkness was approaching, and an unknown cataclysm would engulf the entire myriad of worlds. Immediately, he determined his course, wishing to traverse the realms of Xiangu with utmost speed in pursuit of fortune, and subsequently return to the 9 heavens and 10 earths to confront all that lay ahead. Come forth. A call resonated throughout the northern Zhe, and soon, several streaks of light soared across the vast expanse, materializing before Ji Xian. Greetings, master. Several individuals knelt in reverence. Commendable. Ji Xian remarked as he surveyed the group before him, noting their evident progress in cultivation, with De Yi having even transcended to the quasi-emperor realm. What of Shi Tianyu? After a sweeping glance, he realized that the reincarnated holy body was conspicuously absent. Qing Qing, her face awash with concern, spoke, reporting to master. A thread of celestial light imbued with the essence of time swept past, and the junior brother appeared entranced, walking in that direction. Despite our calls, he did not turn back. He vanished from the northern Zhe, and we are left unaware of his destination. De Yi added, indeed, master, even I, with my stature, was powerless against him. An enigmatic force of time enveloped him. Merely brushing against him cost me 500 years of lifespan. Oh, Ji Xian pondered, suspecting that Shi Tianyu might have become ensnared in the temporal fabric of Xiangu. If that were the case, it could pose significant complications. Is Shi Tianyu in danger? He inquired of the system. Response to host. No, a force within Xiangu has chosen him, related to time, for the reincarnated holy body. This may even be a fortuitous opportunity, potentially capturing the chance to ascend to emperor. That is reassuring. Ji Xian nodded, feeling a sense of relief wash over him. Chapter 409. Prelude to Darkness. Ji Xian and his companions departed the northern Zhe, the expansive wetlands and sprawling lakes rapidly receding behind them. They journeyed southward, traversing billions of miles to arrive at the southern side of Xiangu, the Zhanhuang Valley. Through inquiries along the way, Ji Xian learned that this valley was once the domain of the immortal Zhanhuang Daorun, teeming with active volcanoes. However, upon arrival, he discovered that everything was starkly different from his expectations. The entire Zhanhuang Valley had been cleaved apart, shattered by an overwhelming force. Hundreds of black-red ancient continents floated amidst the boundless cosmos, each fragmented, exuding a cataclysmic aura. Ji Xian traversed the layers of void and alighted upon a volcano that was billowing thick smoke. Surrounding the caldera lay the corpses of various exotic beasts, lifeless, their skins draped over bones, devoid of vitality. They had succumbed to the draining of their life force by the dark energies, leading to their demise. Not all beings possess the merit to transform into dark entities. If one is too weak, the dark matter will simply drain the host, seeking a stronger vessel. Dimly, Ji Xian sensed swirling, ominous black mists, an unsettling manifestation of dark power. It seemed that Ming Shan had already ventured here, he mused. The Dao source of Xianhuang had previously been under the dominion of Ming Shan, indicating their prior incursions into this realm, where they had extracted everything through dark rites, resulting in this scene of desolation. Suddenly, from the distant sky, a darkened Zhuke, corrupted by shadows, surged forth, its wings spanning nearly 10,000 miles, engulfed in black flames. A terrifying sight to behold. It immediately locked onto Ji Xian, seemingly sensing the immense life force emanating from him, and instinctively dove downwards to attack. A majestic demon bird. Ji Xian murmured softly, extending a large hand to envelop the shimmering starlight, capturing the black vermilion bird within his grasp. A formidable force of primordial energy emanated from his pores, isolating all dark powers, rendering the vermilion bird immobile in his hold. At his level of prowess, certain weapons, even without manifesting their true forms, could unleash their inherent might. Moreover, Ji Xian himself was the most powerful weapon of all. The demon bird, tainted by darkness, had yet to fully lose its consciousness and cried out in terror, nearly splitting apart under the immense pressure of Ji Xian's formidable aura. The nearby disciples, witnessing this spectacle, instinctively took several steps back. The presence of dark beings elicited an eerie and sinister sensation, akin to plunging into an icy abyss merely by proximity. Master, is it truly safe for you to grasp it so? Are you not afraid of being infected? De Yi inquired. Not a concern, Ji Xian replied, waving his hand dismissively, as he pointed a finger into the center of the black vermilion bird's brow, initiating a probe. Moments later, a dark seed was extracted, suspended at Ji Xian's fingertip, surrounded by swirling black mist. This was the essence of a dark secret technique. As the Ming Mountain was consecrated here, it scattered the sacrificed dark seeds, aiming to compel any beings entering this realm to submit to darkness, thereby amplifying its power. With a thunderous roar, volcanoes erupted, unleashing a multitude of dark-tainted beasts. Towering rhinoceroses, gorillas more massive than mountains, and colossal golden-winged rocks stretched thousands of feet long, each a fearsome entity, the weakest among them perched at the pinnacle of the great sage realm. Ji Xian even sensed the faint presence of an emperor. Suddenly, as if aware of Ji Xian's presence, the dormant new emperor surged forth from the ground, shattering mountain after mountain. It was a newly ascended azure dragon, its body adorned with azure golden scales, stretching over 100,000 miles, coiling and twisting. Its dragon head lowered to gaze at Ji Xian. Human, what brings you to my territory? It inquired, releasing an eerie black mist from its mouth, revealing itself as yet another dark entity. Remarkably, it retained its original consciousness, indicating that even after succumbing to darkness, the emperor did not lapse into a bloodthirsty state. Ji Xian mused, is it you who sacrificed all beings of the true Phoenix Valley, gaining power to ascend as emperor? He discerned the azure dragon's recent attainment of enlightenment. Humph. The dark azure dragon snorted, displeased by Ji Xian's nonchalant demeanor. I have become an emperor. Do you dare speak to me in such a manner? Ji Xian chuckled derisively. What of being an emperor? A being that ascended through dark sacrifices lacks the dignity to command my respect. You forsake the righteous path to ascendancy. And even if you achieve enlightenment, you are unworthy of the title of emperor. Upon hearing this, the dark azure dragon erupted in fury, exhaling black mist through its nostrils. With a sinister smile, it declared, very well, then you shall become the nourishment on my path to power. I am the master of true Phoenix Valley, and I shall not tolerate your insolence. Upon concluding his words, he twisted his immense dragon form as if a multitude of heavens were crashing down upon him. A formidable aura of darkness enveloping the skies like a rolling tide. Instantly, the temperature plummeted, and the magma within a radius of millions of miles solidified. Drops of water appeared from the void, shimmering with golden light. Under the influence of the frigid air, these droplets transformed into sharp ice spikes, suspended like swords. Their presence rivaling that of a million mighty warriors, poised to strike at a mere command from him. With an explosive roar, the ice blades surged forth, resembling a torrential downpour of pearly rain. The azure dragon, caught unawares, was swiftly cleaved into countless segments, its colossal body tumbling down, leaving only its head relatively intact. Albeit pierced by several ice swords, impaled atop a volcano. With a dismissive snort, he stepped forward, traversing the heavens, casting aside the cycles of millennia behind him, and placed his foot upon the head of the dark azure dragon. The overwhelming tide of darkness shattered into nothingness. It was only at this moment that the anguished cries of the azure dragon echoed out. For the speed of his lethal strike was such that from the drawing of the blade to the step taken, all transpired in a mere second. Why is a high-level emperor here? The azure dragon roared in defiance. Having just attained enlightenment, it should have ascended to the status of a beast sovereign, gazing down upon the cosmos. Yet it found itself suppressed by a single hand. Nay, without even the use of a hand. As a dragon, a being of noble lineage, it was humiliated to submit to such a lowly darkness. He spat a mouthful of disdain upon the brow of the dark azure dragon as a mark of humiliation. Are you forcing me to self-destruct my soul? The azure dragon seethed in fury. Even in captivity, it had no intention of yielding, with only its head remaining. Its sole means of resistance was self-detonation. By all means, give it a try, he retorted, pointing a finger into the dragon's brow, initiating a soul search. I will take you down with me. The azure dragon howled in agony, preparing to ignite its soul in a bid for mutual destruction. What is happening? No response. It was shocked to discover that its soul had long since slipped from its control, now firmly within his grasp. Just a mere little reptile, thinking itself a true dragon. He mused, driving his finger deeper, exposing the dragon's consciousness in its entirety. It was astonishing. The path of dark power had no restrictions against ascension. He unearthed a profoundly shocking revelation. Within an environment that forbade ascension, dark beings could indeed disregard this limitation. This implied that the path to immortality through dark means would be unobstructed. Such temptation was overwhelming, explaining the obsession of those from the Nether Mountains. However, matters might not be as simple as they seemed, he pondered. He realized that those who submitted to darkness required increasingly greater sacrifices of life as their cultivation deepened. By the time they reached the level of immortality, the number of lives required for sacrifice would be incalculable. And only the most vibrant beings would suffice. Those full of life alone would qualify for such offerings. In this case, it would likely necessitate the sacrifice of an entire realm of existence to produce a single true immortal. Yet, this allure is undeniably potent. To become an emperor is the dream of countless souls, and now that a pathway has emerged, it is likely to incite envy and eagerness in many, prompting them to partake in this endeavor. Ji Xian gazed upon the multitude of dark beings scattered across the land, foreseeing the imminent arrival of that epoch. A grand momentum from the heavens and earth pressing upon all realms, leaving no one beyond its grasp, save for himself. With a resounding crash, Ji Xian's palm descended, obliterating all ancient continents suspended in the cosmos into mere dust, eradicating those dark entities in the process. The dark azure dragon of the emperor was unable to withstand even a wisp of Ji Xian's aura, instantly reduced to a mere puddle of flesh. Thus, the true Phoenix Valley, sprawling nearly 100 million miles, was brought to ruin. Nevertheless, Ji Xian was confident that the ancient celestial realm would not suffer a loss. After countless eons, a new world would inevitably arise here. Meanwhile, Ao Tian conveyed a message to Ji Xian. revealing a staggering discovery at the Dragon God Temple located in the eastern part of the ancient celestial realm. Do not dawdle. It is time to depart. Ji Xian roused his bewildered disciples, guiding them forth. Even as they vacated the land, Dao Yi remained entranced by the power of that singular palm strike. It was truly unfathomable. Could such vast territory as the Great Wasteland possibly withstand Master S' blow? Chapter 4:10. Ruins of the Dragon God. In the eastern region of the ancient celestial realm, the terrain was intricate. Unlike the endless marshes and expansive volcanoes of the North Zay and True Phoenix Valley, here, plains merged with plateaus, towering mountains rose, and small ponds dotted the landscape. From a high vantage point, it resembled a vibrant oil painting. Ji Xian and his entourage took 5 years to reach this place. The ancient celestial realm was simply too immense. Even an emperor would require time to traverse it. On the divine chariot, the master and disciples sat together, drifting through the ethereal mists. What an abundant aura of dragons. The dragon veins here are extraordinary, Dao Yi remarked, gazing below. Along the journey, he had sought Ji Xian's guidance on dragon-seeking techniques, allowing him to perceive some of the geomantic principles. However, they have all been exhausted. No longer as they once were, Ji Xian replied, a flicker of colorful light flashing in his eyes as he comprehended the totality of the situation. Like the True Phoenix Valley, this territory once ruled by true dragons had also fallen into decay, albeit for the time being untainted by darkness. In the distance, atop a plateau, Ao Tian and his family sat anxiously upon a large stone, awaiting the arrival of the Heavenly Emperor. Why has His Majesty not yet arrived? If he delays any longer, that wretched hound shall triumph. Ao Sheng expressed his impatience, occasionally voicing his frustration. You foolish boy, are you courting death? Ao Tian retorted, delivering a slap to Ao Sheng's head, causing him to stagger. Over a millennium had passed, and he had now ascended to the threshold of emperorhood, standing on equal footing with his wife, Aou. The impact of the slap carried a hint of imperial might, leaving Ao Sheng somewhat disoriented. Father, I am several thousand years old. Must you still strike me? Ao Sheng cried, clutching his head. No longer the naive youth he once was, he had grown increasingly handsome, his sword-like brows accentuating his striking features. What of being several thousand years old? Even if you were 1 billion years old, I would still be your father. Ao Tian bellowed angrily, refusing to cease his assault. After much effort, he finally seized an opportunity to punish his son and was unwilling to conclude so swiftly. Mother, behold him. His arrogance knows no bounds. Please, save your poor son. Ao Sheng turned to gaze at his mother, tears welling in his large eyes. A grown lad on the verge of weeping. Aou, draped in loose robes that accentuated her figure, displayed her bare shoulders with a smile that revealed her bright, pearly teeth. Her neck was as white as snow, adorned with a token bestowed upon her by Ao Tian. With golden hair cascading to her waist and a figure that exuded an indescribable allure, she retained an ageless charm despite having lived for countless eons. Oh, go ahead and strike him. In the days to come, when darkness and turmoil erupt, there may be no chance left to do so, Aou chuckled, covering her mouth with mirth. Ao Sheng felt a surge of despair. Usually, his mother shielded him, but today she seemed indifferent to his plight. I understand now. It must be that my father's cultivation has reached the same level as mother's, and she can no longer restrain him, completely subdued by his imposing presence. In our family, it seems, men ultimately reign supreme. In agony, Ao Sheng resorted to desperate measures, hoping to incite Aou to intervene and subdue Ao Tian. Upon hearing his words, Aou furrowed her brows, casting an annoyed glance at her son. Wait, she called out to Ao Tian, who was in the midst of swinging his fist. What is it? Ao Tian paused, bewildered. I knew mother loved me the most. Ao Sheng exclaimed joyfully. Once you step in, father will have no choice but to behave. Punishing children should be done early. Let us do it together before we grow too old to manage. With that, Aou rolled up her sleeves and marched forward. The highlands were soon filled with the echoes of piercing cries. A thrilling battle between parents ensued. Suddenly, a magnificent divine chariot, radiating celestial light, approached from the distance, pulled by 8 golden qilin, exuding an awe-inspiring presence. Ji Xian stepped down from the chariot with measured grace, emitting no discernible aura. Yet, upon closer inspection, his every movement resonated with the laws of heaven and earth, compelling all in his vicinity to bow in reverence. Quite the commotion, Ji Xian remarked with a smile upon witnessing the scene. My apologies for the disturbance, young master. Ao Tian and Aou quickly straightened their attire and shoved Ao Sheng aside, striving to prevent Ji Xian from noticing his disheveled appearance. What brings you to summon me in such haste? Ji Xian inquired. Ao Tian bowed respectfully and replied, Young master, I believe I have encountered your old acquaintance in a mysterious realm, one of the great emperors of the Ji family. He appears lost in the annals of time, his eyes weeping blood, his body rigid, as if bereft of life, drifting amidst the cold, desolate universe. Ao Tian provided a clear account, but refrained from uttering the man's name, for those below the emperor's realm were forbidden from directly naming him. It is Ji Wuxing, is it not? Where might he be? Ji Xian asked. I heard from Jiang Zhengyang that Ji Wuxing is lost in time, his fate unknown. And never did I expect him to end up here. He is located in the starry expanse behind the Dragon God ruins, a sacred ground of the true Dragon clan. Now long abandoned, Ao Tian explained. Ji Xian fixed his gaze toward the horizon, where a colossal palace loomed at the edge of the highlands. Despite its collapse, a surge of dragon energy still erupted from its remnants. Let us go and investigate, he commanded. Ji Xian returned to the divine chariot, preparing to embark on a journey of exploration. Within the chariot lay a self-contained realm, where mountains and rivers intertwined, and the scenery was enchanting. After exchanging pleasantries with the fire spirit and others, Ao Tian and his family set forth. The chariot moved swiftly, transforming into a silver dragon that traversed the cosmos. Reaching its destination in just a few hours, on a celestial mountain stood hundreds of dilapidated palaces, shimmering with golden light, exuding a lingering dragon aura. Countless millennia had passed. The immortals had vanished, and time had ravaged this place, leaving it in a state of disrepair. The stone steps crumbled, wild grass grew unchecked, and broken alchemical furnaces and sacrificial cauldrons lay abandoned in the courtyard, creating an atmosphere of desolation. Ji Xian and his companions navigated through layers of palaces and along lengthy corridors until they arrived at the most magnificent hall. Here, Ao Tian's family felt a profound stirring of their spirits as they paused before a towering divine pillar, gazing at the soaring dragons, seemingly entranced. Let us proceed, Ji Xian urged, beckoning them to continue onward. Drawn in by the legacy left by the former Dragon Emperor, Ao Tian's family descended into a deep state of enlightenment. After breaking through the layers of ruins, Ji Xian beheld the starry sky that Ao Tian had described. It was not merely a sky of stars, but rather a vast river of time coursing through the universe, so immense and boundless that it was adorned with planets, which Ao Tian mistakenly identified as stars. This was the reflection of the river of time in this realm. A colossal figure floated amidst the cold cosmos. Its body stained with blood, eyes hollow and shattered, a visage twisted in terror, as if it had witnessed the greatest horrors of existence. Not yet dead, Ji Xian observed, glancing at Ji Wuxing, reaching out toward him. In the vast starry river, a bloody body lay in Ji Xian's palm, its limbs nearly severed and in a state of utter ruin. Time had eroded the flesh, vitality on the brink of extinction, and the spirit severely wounded, with its eyes shattered by an overwhelming force. What could it have seen that was not meant to be seen? Yet, what in this world could be beyond the gaze of an emperor? Ji Xian gazed at Ji Wuxing before him, utterly perplexed. Master, is there any hope for this elder? Dai stepped forward to inquire, his heart aching. The sight of this broken old man reminded him of his father, the old Emperor He, prompting tears to well in his eyes. Betrayed by the Golden Crow Emperor, his essence damaged, his lifespan curtailed, he had perished in a state of confusion, unable to find peace. Is there a celestial being above? The final question uttered by Emperor Yi at the time of his ascension lingered in Dai's mind, haunting him for years, a reminder of his father's lifelong pursuit for truth that remained elusive even in death. Fire Spirit and the others were equally concerned, for during their time at the White Deer Academy, this emperor had once looked after them. There is hope, but it may not be long, Ji Xian replied. If the source had not been damaged for too long, he might still be able to salvage Ji Wuxing, using the powers of time to restore him to his former state. However, Ji Wuxing had likely remained in this condition for several millennia, his vibrant essence mostly dissipated, leaving only a trace of life force hidden within the wheel of reincarnation, sustaining this broken body. I shall save you, but whether you can survive depends entirely on yourself, Ji Xian said gravely. A humming sound resonated as his pure white hand rested upon Ji Wuxing's chest, from which emanated a verdant glow representing life essence, nourishing Ji Wuxing's frail body. In that moment, a towering willow tree materialized, enveloped in green divine light, its lush branches cascading gently upon Ji Wuxing. Occasionally, it stirred the remnants of life essence lingering within his spiritual sea, which, under Ji Xian's guidance, gradually spread throughout his entire being. Cough, cough. Days later, Ji Wuxing's throat stirred, and he emitted a soft cough, the first sign of life manifesting. A month later, he began to recover, gaining a semblance of hazy consciousness. His severed limbs and broken bones had been mended by Ji Xian. Even his eyes had regenerated, and the bloodstains on his skin had been cleansed. Yet, Ji Wuxing's body grew increasingly emaciated, resembling a withered twig, dark and gaunt. To sustain his existence, much of his flesh and blood essence transformed into primal energy, entering his spiritual sea. Upon awakening, it was already dark. You are awake, Ji Xian remarked, glancing over from beside a campfire made of dry twigs, holding a half-eaten chicken wing. It seemed he had been rescued. Thank you, my friend, Ji Wuxing replied slowly, sitting up, his features more lined, devoid of any color. He appeared to have aged decades, bearing the weight of countless eons. What did you see? Ji Xian offered another chicken wing. Ji Wuxing accepted it, staring blankly at the fragrant morsel, as if it stirred long-buried memories. He couldn't help but wonder when was the last time he had savored such mundane food. Observing Ji Xian enjoying the meal with relish, Ji Wuxing felt a strange illusion, as if the one who had saved him was not the fearsome heavenly emperor of the Taoist sect, known for his countless fallen foes, but rather a humble farmer toiling in the fields. At last, he took a bite and said, I witnessed endless ages, encountered things I should not have seen, and faced retribution. It was a towering figure, standing with its back to the multitude, wielding a celestial sword against a million-strong army. An astonishing aura of slaughter surrounded him, every movement resonating with the grand principles of the universe. By my understanding of the Tao, that individual undoubtedly transcended the realm of emperors. He was a formidable immortal. Alas, I foolishly attempted to peer into his essence with my divine sense, to unveil his true visage. The consequence was a thunderous roar of a tiger. He turned to face me, his golden pupils bursting forth with countless threads of celestial light, piercing through me. My eyes exploded, and my body was shattered by the sword's radiance. Upon awakening, I found myself before you. After uttering these words, Ji Wuxing slumped down, his injury severe. The mere act of gazing upon a forbidden entity and surviving was nothing short of miraculous. Did he truly exist? Ji Xian inquired. No, not truly, merely a phantom. Yet, I cannot discern whether it was an avatar or something else entirely. His state was enigmatic, beyond comprehension. Ji Wuxing replied. Rest well, I shall go and investigate. Ji Xian rose and settled Ji Wuxing, then walked towards the vast starry sky with his hands clasped behind his back. Be cautious, my friend, it is perilous there. Ji Wuxing cautioned. He was acutely aware of Ji Xian's prowess, yet he feared the unforeseen. No matter, there exists no place in this world that can confine me. Clad in white, he ascended the stone steps, leaving behind a confident and carefree smile. Before Ji Wuxing could utter another word, Ji Xian had already stepped into the starry expanse and vanished. Behind him, several disciples felt a pang of anxiety. Upon hearing Ji Wuxing's words, the immortal seemed rather fearsome. Could their master withstand such a presence? Boom. A resounding crash interrupted their thoughts. The starry sky ahead began to seethe, the space rippling like the tides. Powerful temporal symbols flowing like water into the distance. At this moment, Ji Wuxing finally discerned the full splendor of the starry sky. A vast river of time cascaded from the heavens like a silver waterfall, enveloping the cosmos and leading into the depths of the universe. It was indeed a river of time. No wonder he had been entranced. Deep within the river, Ji Xian stood with his feet firmly planted in the flowing waters. Undeterred by the time rules capable of obliterating even the greatest of heroes. Is it ahead? He activated his divine sight, perceiving a mass of chaotic mist thousands of years away. Time is upon us, Ji Xian exclaimed. And the entire river erupted in resplendent starlight as he summoned the decree of time, rendering himself immune to the ravages of the ages. Without such measures, a single round trip would see 10,000 years pass in the realm of reality. Boom. With one step, he cast aside centuries, his white attire leaving behind ephemeral shadows at various temporal junctures. The decree of time activated. With each stride, Ji Xian altered the course of history. As he breached the chaotic mist, he found himself within a world unto itself, harboring ancient, profound secrets. The dark rules were thick and oppressive. Had the river of time been invaded by darkness? With these questions lingering in his mind, he delved deeper into this realm. The starry sky was boundless and infinite. He could not discern how long he had flown before encountering a tangible form. Just as Ji Wuxing had described, a towering figure stood there, gazing down upon the cosmic wasteland, wielding a celestial sword, exuding an overwhelming aura of lethality, as if resisting some great force. Chapter 412. The origin of the Sword Emperor. In the realm between heaven and earth, an endless stream of murderous intent flowed. The universe had transformed into a colossal ice cavern, suffused with an excruciating chill. This was a desolate place. Even those of imperial stature would find themselves wounded if they were not vigilant. Such formidable killing intent arose from the clash of two fierce wills. And even from within the vast expanse of stars, Ji Xian could tangibly feel the terrifying power. Finally, after traversing hundreds of great star systems, he pierced through layers of chaotic mist and discerned the silhouette of the man. It was a remarkably robust figure, with long white hair cascading down his shoulders and a muscular build. A long spear had pierced through his back, his battle armor scattered by the shockwave of an explosion. Frozen in the fabric of time, his body stained with blood. In his right hand, a celestial sword had been severed, fragments of metal suspended at the juncture, tainted with dark blood, emanating a chilling aura of killing intent. What caught Ji Xian's attention even more was the pair of large, furry ears adorning his head. A celestial tiger, a divine being, has perished. Ji Xian scrutinized the lifeless form, murmuring softly. At that moment, a piercing beam of sword light shot forth from the far reaches of the universe, cascading like a river of stars, as if a mountain of immense weight had descended. Undaunted, Ji Xian responded with composure, a formidable celestial power surging from within him, propelling forth through his outstretched right hand. Stars shimmered as a cosmic river coiled around his fingertips, thick with vitality, transforming into an unparalleled strike that he unleashed. With a resounding crash, the entire cosmos trembled. This blow echoed the very act of creation, as countless stars erupted, plummeting like dumplings into a cataclysmic meteor shower. Ji Xian confronted the sword light head-on, nearly shattering this isolated universe. His current prowess far surpassed that of an emperor, nearing the exalted level of a true celestial. Despite the passage of time, the residual intent to kill remained potent. The cataclysm he once endured was indeed of apocalyptic magnitude, Ji Xian reflected. What transpired here? Is it related to darkness? He gazed toward the distant starfield, pondering aloud. Alas, the immense body exuded a terrifying force, creating a field that isolated all. Let us take a closer look. He stepped forward, the illusion of the river of time manifesting beneath his feet. In an instant, the figure clad in white vanished from the heart of the cosmos, traversing hundreds of star systems until he reached the desolate fringes of this universe. Surrounding the corpse was a forbidden domain, forged from celestial power. With a flick of his fingers, Ji Xian sliced through the nearby realm, entering this desolate place with ease. After a meticulous examination, he concluded, this body was not the true form of the celestial being, but rather a shadow, a remnant left behind in this location. Enduring through the passage of millions of years. What had he fought for, to end in such a tragic state? Did he, like the fallen Sword Emperor, perish in the quest to suppress darkness? With questions lingering in his heart, Ji Xian glided past the side of the corpse, casting his gaze toward the desolate expanse of the universe, where he beheld a scene that struck awe into his very soul. The ruined cosmic outskirts were engulfed in chaotic energy, with countless cold bodies aimlessly drifting. Their sheer number was overwhelming, reaching into the billions within Ji Xian's field of vision alone. Dismembered warships, shattered weapons, and fragmented corpses hinted at a titanic battle that had led to the fall of celestial beings. Among the fallen were several who had been extraordinarily powerful in life. Even after years of death, their celestial aura lingered faintly, giving the impression they might yet rise again. They were shrouded in thin black mist, clearly the work of dark entities. Turning back, Ji Xian beheld the visage of the mythical celestial being. The face was square and remarkably formidable, with eyes that burned like suns, radiating an immortal brilliance. How strikingly similar he was to the Sword Emperor. Ji Xian was astonished, merely by appearance. There was a striking 99 resemblance to the White Tiger Sword Emperor he had encountered in the Sword Pavilion. To be precise, one could even consider them as one and the same. In this starry expanse, as Ji Xian gazed upon the drifting corpses in the distance, a wave of memories surged within him, for this scene was all too familiar. He pressed deeper into this realm, traversing layers of chaos, until he ultimately beheld a sight that left him astounded, a dark star gate. Indeed, his heart raced, not from fear, but from recollections of past experiences. This stargate before him bore an uncanny resemblance to the one he had encountered at the end of the Sword Dao River. In that moment, he had crossed the river of swordsmanship and traversed the imperial path to arrive at the Celestial Sword Palace. To combat the resurrected dark beings, he had fought in that starry region for over a century, the bloody scene still vivid in his mind. Gazing at the gate before him, Ji Xian fell into contemplation. Compared to the dark gate he held dominion over, this one appeared more ethereal, yet it emanated a powerful aura, reaching the celestial level. He was immediately reminded of the Sword Emperor, who had ventured to the edge of the universe, employing his palace as a weapon to seal it, nearly perishing in that starry expanse. As he turned back to the mark that embodied his essence, Ji Xian understood everything. What lay before him was also the handiwork of the Sword Emperor, or one could say, the deeds of his previous life. Reincarnation, Ji Xian mused softly. At the moment of his demise, the Divine Tiger Immortal had cast forth his life's imprint, traversing through the river of time to various worlds, ultimately taking root in the ancient celestial realm. In other words, the Sword Emperor was the reincarnation of this immortal, born eons later. Suddenly, a light emanated from within the Divine Tiger Immortal's body, capturing Ji Xian's attention. With a resounding boom, Ji Xian stepped forward, spanning the cosmos, and instantly returned to the position of the White Tiger Immortal. There, he beheld a faint flame, no larger than a fingernail, still burning, containing the last vestiges of life force. Still alive? Ji Xian was taken aback. The flame's persistence indicated that this cycle was not yet complete. The Divine Tiger Immortal had reincarnated as the Sword Emperor, who would continue to reincarnate as others in this world. Furthermore, Ji Xian sensed within this flame a lingering obsession, a determination to combat the darkness. Thus it was, through countless lifetimes of reincarnation, the singular purpose was to thoroughly suppress the great turmoil of darkness. Ji Xian was moved by this spirit. This was undoubtedly a figure worthy of song and tears. He suddenly recalled the Celestial Sword Palace, devoid of any ostentation or lavish decoration. It was likely that the Sword Emperor, in his former life, was this resolute, seeking nothing but the suppression of darkness. His life unfolded rapidly, rising to prominence, attaining the title of Celestial Emperor, suppressing darkness throughout his lifetime, only to meet a tragic end and wither away swiftly. Such was the life of the Sword Emperor. Though brief, it was extraordinarily brilliant. The world spoke of his relentless pursuit of ultimate power solely for the sake of ascension. Yet at this moment, Perhaps only Ji Xian understood the true reason for his arrival in this world. It was to resist darkness. To safeguard the lives of the common people, he willingly offered himself for this cause. Should he encounter his reincarnated self, he hoped to extend a helping hand. Ji Xian concealed his emotions. The dark cataclysm is an ordeal that all beings across the myriad realms must endure. It is a manifestation of the tribulation reaching its zenith. A cataclysmic event sweeps across the vast expanse, where some transform into malevolent entities, reaping the lives of others, while others become valiant warriors, challenging the heavens. This is also the inevitable path of Ji Xian, who must carve his way through the darkness, emerging with bloodied brilliance, striving to become the strongest in the myriad worlds amid the calamity. As if sensing Ji Xian's unwavering resolve, a flame quivered and subsequently released a gleaming white bone fragment. The surface of this bone was inscribed with a multitude of intricate runes, exuding a formidable sword intent. Ji Xian, upon perceiving it, extended his consciousness and committed the ancient scripture to memory. This was a sword technique known as the 10,000 Beasts Immortal Sword, which, with every strike, summoned the essence of primal beasts, shaking the heavens and the earth. After a period of contemplation, Ji Xian concluded that the technique was not entirely suited to him and made several modifications. A decade later, the technique was refined and renamed Flying Immortal Sword Art, which Ji Xian cultivated to its ultimate perfection. With each unsheathed sword, the might of immortals was unleashed. Ji Xian summoned Qiong and revealed the truth to her, leaving her in a prolonged state of reflection. Is that so? In a daze, she drifted back to sleep, finding her moments of consciousness scarce during her critical transformation phase. Ji Xian was profoundly moved by this journey. This was the reincarnation ground of the Sword Emperor, and perhaps, in years to come, another unparalleled sovereign would arrive here, wielding a sword to combat the darkness. As Ji Xian traversed the river of time, he returned to his original temporal juncture. Chapter 413, Half-Ancestor Level Reward. Sword Formation Diagram. The cosmos trembled as a figure clad in white leaped forth from the river of time, alighting upon the stone steps of the Dragon God ruins. At that moment, Ji Wuxing was seated there, nurturing his body. Several disciples had vanished, leaving only this venerable elder to guard the celestial expanse. Observing the newly sprouted weeds around him, Ji Xian could not help but inquire, how many years have passed? Ji Wuxing opened his eyes, and upon seeing Ji Xian, he let out a long breath, feeling a sense of relief. He replied, 10 years. That is acceptable. Ji Xian nodded. Previously, he had traversed a river of time, leaping forward over 3,000 years. This time, with the blessing of the God of Time's oracle, although there were some discrepancies, the overall impact was minimal. You all, come forth. Ji Xian's voice resonated through the heavens. Soon, 3 beams of light descended from different directions, landing before him. Greetings, Master, the 3 bowed in unison. A decade had elapsed, and during this time, they had made significant progress in their training on this land. Hua Linger had ascended to the pinnacle of the great sage realm, while Qingqing had even attained the status of a quasi-emperor. Shortly thereafter, Ao Tian and his family arrived, their mouths smeared with grease and cheeks puffed out, evidently having just indulged in a feast. Ji Xian spoke, it is good that you all are here. Today, I shall impart to you a sword technique known as Flying Immortal. This technique, modified by me, possesses the power to combat the darkness. Once mastered, you must carve out your own brilliance in the grand world. Each of you is destined to achieve the path of emperorship. Thus, you must diligently protect the beings within the domain of our sect. Several individuals immediately sat cross-legged on the ground, preparing to enter a state of enlightenment. Hey, where do you think you're going? Ji Xian called out to Ji Wuxing, who was about to depart. You are passing on teachings to your disciples. What business do I, an outsider, have here? Besides, I do not have many years left to live. It would be best for me to return to a mundane existence. Ji Wuxing waved his hand dismissively. Ji Xian chuckled softly and insisted on bringing him back, saying, at your age, with your legs not being what they used to be, you shouldn't be running about. If you go missing again, who will have the heart to search for you? Reluctantly, Ji Wuxing complied, appearing as a docile elder, and sat obediently, ready to absorb the teachings. Ji Xian stood atop the stone steps, gazing down at the group, silently reciting the incantation. He did not intend to conceal the Fei Xian sword technique as a secret of martial art, but rather wished it to become a legacy for the entire heavenly court. Anyone who joined the heavenly court, from the most humble commoner to the most illustrious emperor, would have the opportunity to learn it. This encompassed the heritage of the Sword Emperor, a figure whose spirit Ji Xian wished to preserve, a person deserving of universal admiration. In an instant, the area was enveloped by a resounding chant, the golden lotus of the Tao spreading throughout, and ethereal shadows of ancient beasts manifested in the heavens. The celestial aura surged, reaching the highest skies. The Fei Xian sword technique, with each word as precious as gold, contained a part of Ji Xian's Tao fruit and the true essence of the sword Tao of the divine tiger immortal, representing an unparalleled celestial art. The space was soon filled with the rules born of enlightenment, and Ji Wuxing, along with his disciples and the Ao family, quickly entered a state of comprehension. Ding! At that moment, the system's notification sounded. Detected host imparting the Fei Xian sword technique, triggering a return of 38 million times. Acquired half-ancestor level reward, kill sword array diagram. Subsequently, within the system space appeared a complex and powerful formation diagram, with 4 scarlet swords floating above, each enveloped in overwhelming murderous intent, exuding an aura of despair. Ji Xian examined the reward's description. Kill sword array diagram. Crafted by an existence surpassing the immortal king realm, each of the 4 swords is a supreme celestial artifact. When combined, the array's might can unleash a fragment of power that transcends the immortal Tao. 4 supreme celestial artifacts along with a diagram of ancestral level. The system is truly generous. Ji Xian smiled. Host, you overestimated. Your noble heart in imparting teachings to the world is what truly commands the system's respect. I exist solely for you, while you are for all of humanity. What nonsense. Be normal. Ji Xian chided with a smile. Understood. After this brief interlude, Ji Xian returned to reality. Having perfected the paths of creation and the sword, he could now comprehend all formation diagrams and master all sword techniques, instantly attaining proficiency in the kill sword array diagram. Under the moonlit night, Ji Xian sat in place and also entered a state of enlightenment. This lasted for 3 years. During this period, Ji Xian attempted to communicate with the primordial purple energy in his sea of consciousness in pursuit of the celestial path. However, after much effort yielded no results, he realized that his celestial journey did not lie within the ancient immortals. Awakening from his state of enlightenment, he chose not to delve further. To attain immortality requires a certain opportunity, perhaps at the right moment. A sip of cool water or a morsel of rice might ignite an epiphany, allowing one to ascend to immortality in an instant. However, the time for such enlightenment has not yet arrived, and idly sitting in silence serves little purpose. He opened his eyes, finding only Ji Wuxing still seated before him, frail and lacking vitality. How much longer can you endure? Ji Xian inquired. I possess elixirs of immortality that may extend your life. Ji Wuxing shook his head, replying. I do not know, perhaps within 10,000 years. You should keep the elixir for yourself. I am left with but a sliver of my essence and can merely sustain my existence. I am too fragile. I may not withstand the overwhelming life force of the elixir, which could hasten my demise instead. Ji Xian fell silent. Ji Wuxing had stumbled into the river of time, eroded by the ravages of the years and the onslaught of sword energy. Indeed, his life was approaching its conclusion. Countless methods exist to prolong life in this world. Yet if one's essence is depleted, not even a deity could offer salvation. The essence signifies the foundational Tao within one's body. Its dissipation leads only to death. All things possess their own terminus. Even the eternal cosmos must face its day of destruction. This is the inevitable course of fate, unalterable by any. What do you plan to do next? Ji Xian asked. Ji Wuxing contemplated for a moment before saying, I doubt I have the energy for battle any longer. I shall return to the Ji family and tend to the fields. After a lifetime of struggle, it is time to rest, to live a mundane life. 10,000 years should be ample time for farming. Seasons will change, and I shall enjoy the company of my grandchildren, living a fulfilling life. Ha ha. He laughed heartily, though whether it was self-deprecation or a newfound acceptance remained uncertain. Let us hope so. Ji Xian seemed to perceive something and stood to depart. He traversed through numerous corridors and over mountains, arriving at the forefront of the ruins. Before him lay a plaza, littered with fallen stone pillars, adorned with lush moss. The scent of damp earth lingering in the air after a recent rain. Don't run, don't run. This time, I must catch you. Suddenly, a small figure, Ao Shang, darted out from behind a sturdy stone pillar, his legs moving swiftly, leaving behind a flurry of afterimages. In front of him, a dark shadow scurried about, the size of a dog, recklessly fleeing. In the ruined plaza, chaos ensued. The dark shadow rampaged, toppling the large pot in which Ao Shang had been cooking. Ao Shang activated the true dragon-esque speed, trailing luminous shadows behind him, resembling a dragon as he reached out toward the fleeing dark figure. This time, I shall see where you run, he shouted, unleashing the full might of his sacred sovereign realm, golden vitality flooding the area as his dragon claw descended, capturing the shadow within his grasp. Please, do not kill me, a youthful voice pleaded from his palm, emanating from a furry creature enveloped in black mist. You've been stealing my food. I could overlook it once or twice, but for years, you've been at it daily. Ao Shang panted, evidently exerting considerable effort to seize the creature. Harnessing the illusionary vision of the true dragon, a golden beam shot forth from his brow, cutting through the black mist, revealing the true nature of the furry being. How dare you treat me like some insignificant creature, a mere fledgling of a glutton? The young tiger trembled, a fierce glint in his eyes as he menacingly proclaimed, I advise you to release me. I am a fearsome tigra, destined to rival emperors upon reaching maturity. I shall devour you. He bared his fangs, his eyes gleaming like black gemstones, and displayed his tiny pink tongue, attempting to project an aura of ferocity. Yet, given his tender age, this display only rendered him adorably comical. How audacious of a tiger to act defiantly before a true dragon. Aoshing scoffed, extending his massive claw to strike the young tiger's rear. The dragon's formidable physique caused each swipe to send ripples through the void, creating fissures in the air. Overwhelmed by the immense dragonic aura, the young tiger gasped, stammering, What did you just say? You are a true dragon. Aoshing wiped his nose and chuckled. Are you frightened? I am indeed formidable. Above, Ji-Xian scrutinized the young tiger with keen interest. With a lion's body and a wolf's head. He bore robust ram's horns and a long tail crowned with a hefty flesh orb. Still in his juvenile stage, he resembled less a fearsome beast and more a playful pup. Suddenly, Ji-Xian's Taiji immortal diagram quivered slightly, prompting his surprise. The true dragon, black tortoise, and phoenix of the four sacred beasts stirred, shifting positions to create several indentations. Additional slots had emerged. Ji-Xian examined closely and discerned that the tiger's innate ferocity had incited the diagram's reaction. The four sacred beasts, true dragon, white tiger, phoenix, and black tortoise, symbolized auspiciousness. While their counterparts, the four malevolent beasts, Tigra, Xiongqi, Hundun, and Taotai, represented calamity. Cultivation encompasses both fortune and misfortune. Thus, the auspicious four sacred beasts could only occupy two of the dualities, necessitating the incorporation of the malevolent beast's ferocity for balance. He murmured to himself, recognizing that the appearance of a young tigra had unexpectedly broadened his path of cultivation. This realization led Ji-Xian to reflect on the significance of opportunities at his level of cultivation. However, the four malevolent beasts did not require Dao origin-grade entities for compensation. They merely needed to assimilate the corresponding ferocity to complement the auspicious aura of the four sacred beasts. With this thought, he descended the steps to stand behind Aoshing. Upon catching sight of Ji-Xian, the young tiger's fur bristled, his eyes rolled back, nearly fainting from fright. What are you pretending to be dead for? Keep yelling. Aren't you quite resilient? Aoshing continued to pat his backside. In a hoarse voice, the young tiger managed to utter a few words. Someone is coming behind you. Aoshing turned, startled by Ji-Xian's sudden appearance, and promptly dropped the tiger to the ground, bowing respectfully. Rise, Ji-Xian commanded. Then began to scan the young tigra with his divine consciousness. Please, don't kill me. The tiger cried out, sensing a sliver of his innate power being siphoned away. Merging into the very being of the man before him, Ji-Xian carefully attuned to this strand of ferocity and soon nodded in affirmation. It aligned precisely with his expectations. Subsequently, he released a beam of white light from his fingertip, which entered the young tigress' body. How warm. My hidden injuries have been mended. What is this? The little gourmand sensed a transformation within himself. It was not merely an internal injury, but his very essence was undergoing a profound metamorphosis. His bones became increasingly immaculate. His blood a vibrant crimson, enveloped by a divine force. Gradually, he lowered his guard against Ji-Xian, realizing that this individual meant him no harm. This is the essence of my Tai Chi celestial energy. I extract a fragment of your origin and gift you a strand of celestial essence, Ji-Xian declared. This was an unavoidable matter. Tai Chi emphasizes equilibrium, and the power within Ji-Xian's being must remain in a state of balance at all times. For every trace of malevolence introduced, an equivalent strand of celestial energy must be expelled. Thank you, he exclaimed, covering his face, his tone youthful and innocent. Unable to maintain his earlier fierceness in the presence of this man. Beside him, Aosheng glared at the little gourmand, feeling a twinge of envy. From whence do you hail? Ji-Xian inquired, directing his attention to the little gourmand suspended in midair. The little gourmand's eyes dulled. His voice tinged with sorrow as he recounted. In a village, I was confined in a cage from the moment of my birth. My parents, shackled in chains, risked everything to send me away, yet they were brutally slain by those wretches. As he spoke, he bowed his head, tears streaming down his cheeks. After consulting with Aosheng, Ji-Xian learned that this little gourmand had wandered in this realm for several years, often pilfering food from him. Are you of the true dragon lineage? The little gourmand glanced at Aosheng before turning his hopeful gaze towards Ji-Xian. And if I am, what of it? If I am not, what then? Ji-Xian replied with a smile. The little gourmand insisted. If you are indeed of the true dragon lineage, then you must quickly flee with that young man beside you. I overheard in my cage that the men in black are desperately searching for the true dragon lineage. They plan to exterminate the living true dragons and refine them into a great elixir, all for the sake of obtaining something called the true dragon Dao source. You are a good person, having aided me, and I wish for your survival. Oh, Ji-Xian immediately thought of the minions of the underworld mountain. Such atrocities could only be perpetrated by them. Tell me where this place is, for I intend to confront these scoundrels, he said to the little gourmand. The little gourmand hesitated, recalling the haunting image of his parents being disemboweled, trembling uncontrollably. He urged, you must not go. I know the true dragons are powerful. But those men are formidable too. Suddenly, his 4 little feet stiffened, his eyes glazed over, and he collapsed, like a soul bereft of life. Ji-Xian's consciousness swept through every corner of the little gourmand's mind. He witnessed a gruesome scene of the slaughter of the remnants of celestial beasts. Not only the Gormand clan, but also the Kuan Tian Shan, the Shurjin leopard, and the Qinglong clans had been mercilessly massacred. These tribes bore the blood of the Four Symbols divine clan and were captured by the Underworld Mountain, seeking to uncover the whereabouts of the Tao source. Among these perpetrators was even a being of imperial stature, possessing terrifying prowess. Through the recollections, Ji Xian discerned that this was a great emperor, the third lord of the Underworld Mountain. Upon learning the circumstances, Ji Xian resolved to embark on a mission to eradicate the stronghold of the Underworld Mountain. Their focus on the Tao source and ferocious beasts clashed with his objectives, necessitating immediate action to eliminate them. The little gourmand regained his senses. Realizing he was still alive and was overcome with joy, Ji Xian performed a soul search on him, employing extraordinary methods without causing him any harm. "Here, take him," he said, tossing the little Tao Tai into Ao Sheng's arms. Very well. Ao Sheng was 100 times reluctant, yet under Ji Xian's command. He had no choice but to comply. "I'll pull your fur," he muttered under his breath as he began to pluck the hairs from the creature's rear. "By the way, where are your parents?" Ji Xian inquired. They said they were going to make me a younger sibling, but now I don't know where they have gone," Ao Sheng replied awkwardly. After thousands of years, he had matured considerably, no longer the naive and ignorant child he once was. He was now aware of the matters between men and women. With his vast divine sense expanded, Ji Xian detected hurried breathing within a stone cave on a nearby mountain. Furrowing his brow slightly, "Very well, then let us wait a few days." Without a backward glance, he turned and departed. Chapter 415. The undying heart of the Underworld Mountain in the dead of night. Within a dilapidated ancient palace, Ji Xian sat cross-legged upon a divine pillar, inhaling the essence of the moon and contemplating the cosmos. The following day, Ao Tian and his wife rushed in, breathless, kneeling before Ji Xian to offer their apologies. "It matters not if we stay for another day." Ji Xian waved his hand dismissively, indicating his indifference. "Thank you, my lord." Ao Tian clasped his hands in gratitude and withdrew. After exhaling a long breath, Ji Xian sent Ao Sheng flying 200 or 300 feet away with a slap, scolding him. "You rascal, don't you know to knock before entering next time?" Ao Sheng got up, straightening his clothes as he retorted. "The cave you two are in does not have a door. Hey, do you dare to talk back when your father speaks?" Ao Tian strode forward, ready to chastise his son again. "What do you mean talking back? I'm merely stating the truth." With a biting remark, Ao Tian transformed into a streak of light and vanished, looking for a beating. Several hours later, Horlinger and the others returned, ready to embark on the journey with Ji Xian. Thus, following the guidance of the little Tao Tai, they arrived at the place of his birth. It was a quaint village nestled deep within the mountains, where ancient trees towered high, exuding a primal essence. According to the little Tao Tai, this was originally the ancestral land of their clan, but thousands of years ago, the Underworld Mountain had intruded, shattering their peaceful existence. In the ancient times that followed, the ancient emperor of the Tao Tai clan passed away, and to this day, the strongest cultivator of the clan was merely a quasi-emperor. Naturally, a quasi-emperor could not withstand the onslaught of the Underworld Mountain, leading to a swift massacre of the village. All Tao Tais with ancestral blood coursing through their veins were captured, kept in confinement to breed and provide the necessary blood for the Underworld Mountain. The parents of the little Tao Tai were imprisoned in a cage, and shortly after, he was born. Upon his birth, an ancient fierce beast's manifestation appeared, marking him as the most potent seed of ancestral blood recognized by the Underworld Mountain. In the time that followed, he endured inhumane torment, nearly succumbing to death. His parents and many of their kin, desperate for his survival, created chaos in an attempt to send him away amidst the turmoil. However, all those villagers were slaughtered, leaving no survivors. Eventually, the little Tao Tai managed to persist in this world, thanks to his extraordinary talents. Traversing through dense forests and mountains, Ji Xian and his companions reached the core of their destination. Yet, what semblance of a village remains here? It is unmistakably a desolate ruin. The chilling iron cages, the glimmering instruments of torture, and the various broken weapons all testify to the fierce resistance that once transpired here, or perhaps to a series of massacres. On the ground lie corpses, haphazardly strewn about, most of them desiccated, with large patches of blackened blood splattered across the bluestone floor, suggesting the passage of many years. "That is the place of my birth," the little glutton murmured, pointing to a dilapidated iron cage. A group followed him, gazing in that direction. The cage, long shattered, had half of its body buried in the earth, faintly revealing a large skeletal remains concealed in the soil. The sight startled Ao Sheng, who beheld this grim spectacle. The demise of this being was indeed tragic. Pierced by numerous spears, its body ravaged, the bones charred to a dark hue, crumbling at the slightest touch. "It is my father," the little glutton stated. He did not weep. An unexpected calm enveloped him in the presence of his deceased kin. A subtle aura of death emanated from the little glutton, causing the surrounding temperature to plummet, freezing the pooled blood on the uneven ground into a layer of ice. Ao Sheng was taken aback. It was in that moment he discerned that the little glutton's cultivation level matched his own, both at the sacred sovereign realm, surpassing him by several minor stages. At that instant, the ferocious aura revealed itself, no longer feeble, as if an unparalleled beast truly stood there. My parents perished for my sake. What was the name of that force? The Underworld Mountain, was it not? His voice, though youthful, bore an icy coldness. His obsidian-like eyes glinting with ferocity. Ji Xian, observing this scene from behind, recognized the little glutton's formidable talent and cast a glance at Ao Sheng, contemplating various thoughts. Such potent murderous intent, who is there? A patrol of cultivators passed through, sensing something amiss. A powerful quasi-emperor approached, clad entirely in black armor, with only a pair of cold, piercing eyes exposed, emanating a menacing aura. It is you. Through the layers of debris, he spotted the little glutton near the cage. Centuries ago, a great upheaval erupted here, and a powerful beast's offspring vanished. Come, seize him. The quasi-emperor commanded his subordinates to advance and capture the little glutton. In an instant, a multitude of armored soldiers surged forward. Yet, these men seemed to vanish without a trace. No matter how many entered the ruins, they ceased to respond. Useless. All of you are worthless. What purpose do I serve in sustaining you? His arrogance was palpable, referring to himself as an emperor even at the quasi-emperor level. Humph. With a single step, he traversed the forested mountains, entering the ruins. Gazing upon the multitude of corpses, the quasi-emperor's fury ignited. He swung a long spear, sweeping through the ruins like a dark dragon, obliterating everything in its path. Through the thickening dust, several indistinct figures emerged, still tinged with remnants of murderous intent. Oh, it seems that even the most inconsequential of beings dare to challenge me in the realm of the Underworld Mountain. The aura of the quasi-emperor surged forth like a tidal wave, instantly engulfing the surroundings. With strides akin to a shooting star, he traversed through the mist, genuinely curious to see who would dare impede the affairs of the Underworld Mountain. As the term emperor fell from his lips, the sound abruptly ceased, and the quasi-emperor trembled uncontrollably upon catching sight of a figure clad in white, coldly staring at him from a distance. He was struck dumb with fear, instantly recognizing Ji Xian. As if caught in a dream, he could not comprehend how a being of such caliber could grace this humble village. However, Ji Xian's gaze did not linger upon him for long, shifting towards other corners as if he were merely an inconsequential insect. Heh! A quasi-emperor dares to refer to himself as an emperor. Do you seek death? Even a barbarian understands the rules. How can a cultivator from a civilized society be so ignorant? Dai Yi stepped forward, his robust physique causing the ground to tremble with each step. He resembled a marching behemoth, reaching out to seize the quasi-emperor's head from afar. And with a resounding crunch, it was crushed. Blood sprayed forth, and the soul was sent into a frenzy. Dai Yi, ever considerate, promptly proceeded to extract the soul of this quasi-emperor on Ji Xian's behalf, subsequently sketching a star map in the void, marking the locations of the Underworld Mountains outposts on the eastern side of the ancient celestial realm. Indeed, we shall proceed directly. Ji Xian nodded, placing his hands behind his back as he stepped into the rift of the void, with the others swiftly following suit. Chapter 416. Clues to the origin of the White Tiger Path. Before them loomed a majestic mountain, its cliffs rising sharply into the clouds. Atop it sat a dark and resplendent ancient fortress, grand and imposing, radiating an aura of magnificence. This was one of the strongholds of the Underworld Mountain, heavily guarded. From high above, one could observe squads of formidable soldiers patrolling the fortress, their movements orderly and disciplined. Creatures within a radius of hundreds of thousands of miles dared not approach this place, fully aware that many had been captured by this force, their blood extracted and souls refined. Boom. Suddenly, a bow and arrow shot from the towering walls of the fortress, demolishing sections of the ramparts. It surged forth from the depths of the cosmos, bearing the overwhelming might of the Supreme Emperor, shaking the very structure, but failing to obliterate it entirely. Enemy attack. Alert. Quickly activate the formation. It seems to be an Imperial weapon, shouted the practitioners of the Underworld Mountain, swiftly entering a state of readiness. Dai Yi hovered in the air, furrowing his brow, and remarked, "This is truly bizarre. Even an Imperial weapon cannot shake it. What exactly is this wall made of?" He had intended to cleave the fortress in two with a single arrow and storm inside, but found that the arrow of the Imperial weapon merely stripped away a layer of the fortress, failing to cause any real destruction. Withdraw. There is a great emperor of mythic caliber lying in wait here. Ji Xian stepped out from behind him, his back to the luminous moon, gazing down like a celestial deity. God's heavens! Dai Yi gasped in astonishment, realizing he had foolishly aspired to challenge such a formidable existence. Rumbling. As Ji Xian had predicted, waves of black mist surged from above the fortress, coalescing into a robed figure, exuding the formidable presence of an ancient emperor. The figure bellowed from afar, "Who dares to invade the domain of the divine?" The profound resonance of the great path reverberated through the heavens and the earth, with the words uttered by a deity akin to a divine decree, capable of shaking the sun, moon, and stars, and obliterating the realms of existence. Except for Ji Xian and Ji Wuxing, the other disciples felt as though their eardrums were on the verge of rupture. To them, this aura was overwhelmingly terrifying. How dare a mere shadow claim divinity? Ji Xian remarked coldly, perceiving the black-robed figure's true nature. merely an avatar, with the true being absent from this realm. I am the third lord of the underworld mountain, and never has anyone dared to speak to me in such a manner. Are you truly strong, human? The black-robed deity retorted icily. With his back turned to the moonlight, Ji Xian's true visage obscured, he contained his aura. Standing resolutely amidst the starry expanse like an ordinary mortal. Just a deity, he stated calmly, then raised his palm forward. Boldness. The black-robed figure shed its garments, revealing itself as an ancient dragon with 4 wings, embarking on the path of transformation. With a mighty flap and a roar, the cycle trembled, and boundless nebulae began to collapse. Yet, all that awaited him was a gentle palm. Ji Xian remained distant, motionless and unprovoked, simply lifting his hand towards the foe. An extraordinary event unfolded. This mere gesture caused millions of miles, encompassing ancient castles, to collapse and submerge into the earth. Boom. The ground sank thousands of fathoms, transforming into a vast abyss. After a prolonged silence, the thunderous sound of collapse echoed through the air. Upon looking again, everything had vanished. The magnificent landscape had sunk into the depths, morphing into nothingness. In the air lingered only a remnant of the deity. Come, soul. Ji Xian's fingertips emitted a golden light, enveloping the deity's remnant to probe its essence. Do you dare to wait for my true form to arrive and engage in battle with him? The remnant's voice was filled with unwilling rage, aware that in this state, its strength was worlds apart from its true self. It is merely a matter of the weight of one's palm, Ji Xian replied with an air of tranquility, exuding a sense of unparalleled supremacy. In a single breath, he comprehended all the information, causing the deity's remnant to disintegrate into ashes. It turned out that the true objective of the Underworld Mountain's expedition was to capture ferocious beasts in pursuit of the White Tiger's Tao source. The true dragon's Tao source had long been obtained by Ao Sheng, vanishing in the eastern expanse of the immortal antiquity. The Underworld Mountain had evidently sensed this. Their net was cast so wide, merely to seek the relics left behind by the legendary Celestial Tiger. Ji Xian even speculated that the Underworld Mountain's reach towards the eastern side of the immortal antiquity hinted at the possibility of the Celestial Tiger's presence there. Reflecting upon the Celestial Tiger residing in the river beyond the Dragon God ruins, Ji Xian could not help but admire the Underworld Mountain's understated yet formidable capabilities. Had he arrived later, the river behind the Dragon God ruins would have indeed been excavated. Moreover, the true form of this deity had ventured towards the western Kunlun Mountain of the immortal antiquity. Aside from the east, the likelihood of the White Tiger's Tao source being located there was substantial, as Kunlun Mountain was perpetually shrouded by an immortal-grade formation, undoubtedly concealing great secrets. The heart of the Emperor of Fengdu, Ji Xian murmured. This was the ultimate goal of the Underworld Mountain's journey. They remained undeterred, still foolishly yearning for dark sacrificial rites. After a brief moment of contemplation, Ji Xian decided to set forth towards the western Kunlun. This would be a lengthy journey, and he did not insist that all those behind him accompany him, especially in the presence of the great secret. Ji Xian did not wish for his disciples to take unnecessary risks. Heed the words of your master. Pulling air, displaying her understanding, took Qingqing and departed, journeying through the realms in search of the opportunity to ascend to emperorhood. Young master, let us remain. There are ancestral arts in the Dragon God ruins that we have yet to comprehend, Ao Tian asserted, embracing his wife, Ao Yu, while forcefully kicking his son. Ao Sheng aside. The intention behind their stay was clear. Ao Sheng felt a deep resentment towards his father, but refrained from expressing it due to the constraints of familial hierarchy. In his frustration, he began to tug at the tail of the little Tao Tai. The little Tao Tai, reverting to its innocuous demeanor, let out a pitiful wail, its fierce visage only having been displayed once before. If you wish to stay, then do so, Ji Xian chuckled. What? Ao Sheng was taken aback, having merely plucked a hair. Yet, Ji Xian had already turned, leaving only his silhouette behind, offering no opportunity for further dialogue. And you? If you are too frail to wander, simply follow behind me, Ji Xian instructed Ji Wuxing. All right, I must admit, I lack the strength to roam freely, he conceded. Ultimately, Ji Xian, Ji Wuxing, and De Yi set forth on their journey. De Yi resisted vehemently, insisting on accompanying Ji Xian. Having lived over 1,000,000 years ago, he felt like a primitive man in this era. Without Ji Xian, he would be akin to a headless fly. He recalled an incident where, unaware, he had slain a war horse, mistaking it for a wild beast, leading to the pursuit of countless soldiers, as the horse belonged to a beloved commander. On another occasion, while asking a village girl for directions, his overly revealing attire and fierce appearance led to him being mistaken for a rogue. The trio boarded the indomitable divine carriage and soared into the heavens, 8 Qilin roaring, their steps spanning vast distances with the passage of time. A silver radiance flickered, and the divine carriage vanished into the depths of the cosmos. Chapter 417. Approaching immortality, the divine carriage traversed the skies, transforming into a celestial white dragon, gliding through the boundless universe. They had journeyed nearly 3 years, yet still had half the distance to West Kunlun. Inside the divine carriage, Ji Xian's gaze swept across every corner of the cosmos, where remnants of countless Ming Mountain cultivators lingered. Countless races had suffered massacres, planets shattered, and corpses scattered across the universe. Suddenly, in the distance, a purple gold divine carriage approached Ji Xian's position, its grand banners fluttering and resonating. Upon closer inspection, it was revealed to be cultivators from the Ji family. We pay our respects to the Xian Emperor. A young man clad in a purple robe descended from the divine carriage, standing amidst the cosmos as he bowed to the white divine carriage. Ji Xian recognized this young man at once. They had met years ago in the Taichu ancient mine, his name being Ji Qingxian. Ji Xian's voice resonated within the carriage. Ji Wuxing, seated nearby, slowly stood, stretched, and remarked, "I must take my leave. They have come to fetch me." "Is this your offspring?" Ji Xian inquired. Ji Wuxing shook his head, replying, "No, this is a promising young talent from the Ji family, whom I have chosen to elevate as the saint of the Ji family. He can indeed be regarded as a late bloomer, having spent countless years in obscurity during his cultivation. After emerging from the ancient forbidden zone, he astounded the world, leaving his contemporaries far behind. Now, he stands just below the illustrious Ji Mingho of the Ji family. Take care of yourself, my friend. The path to the heavenly court is fraught with challenges. The pinnacle of this grand era is approaching, and many dormant forbidden zones will awaken in this lifetime, each one as formidable as a dragon." After uttering these words, he opened the portal to his small world and departed. Ji Xian felt a stirring within, catching a glimpse of the complex emotions in Ji Wuxing's eyes as he turned back. In that fleeting moment, Ji Xian perceived the entirety of Ji Wuxing's life through that gaze. He understood that this farewell would be eternal. Time is like a knife, yet also like a song. Ji Xian murmured to himself. Meanwhile, with Ji Qingshuan's assistance, Ji Wuxing slowly ascended the purple gold divine chariot. "Ancient ancestor, are you feeling unwell?" Ji Qingxian inquired with concern. Though he was not an emperor, he could discern the deathly aura enveloping Ji Wuxing, noticing the dark spots appearing on his skin, a harbinger of demise. "I've merely half-buried myself in the earth. I can still survive a few more years. Let us return to the Ji family." The aged voice gradually faded away as the purple gold divine chariot soared into the void, departing from that place. The universe is cold and boundless. The ancient celestial realm is indeed vast, and the journey ahead spans another 3 years. During this time, Ji Xian paused several times on ancient stars, remnants of where the practitioners of Ming Mountain had dwelt, still exuding the aura of fierce beasts. Ji Xian absorbed the remaining 3 types of fierce energy, refining them into his being, thus enhancing his cultivation. As he approached immortality, he increasingly felt a sense of ethereality, as if he were on the verge of transcending this realm, with each movement capable of inciting chaotic phenomena. "Master, are you all right? You seem to be fading away." De Yi, tilting his head, exclaimed with wide eyes akin to brass bells. He appeared to be a simple-minded giant, seemingly oblivious to the gravity of the situation. To him, Ji Xian's form appeared increasingly insubstantial. At times, the blinding light obscured his vision, rendering Ji Xian's white-clad figure nearly transparent. "No worries, my disciple. I have merely entered a state of enlightenment. A little adjustment will suffice." Ji Xian waved his hand, indicating that Dai need not concern himself. In truth, his level of existence had ascended so high that this world could scarcely contain his form. Once he manifested his true self, he would eclipse the entirety of the 9 heavens and 10 earths, his being dwarfing billions of living souls combined, reduced to the size of a mere fingertip. For now, he could only partially suppress and diminish his presence. Otherwise, he would be inaccessible, with chaos consuming all in his wake. Dai felt reassured, stepping outside the divine chariot to tend to the horses. To the west of the ancient celestial realm lies Kunlun Mountain. At its foot stands a magnificent imperial city known as Gingjin. This is the dwelling place of the Divine Tiger clan, which, unlike the other 4 elemental clans, has maintained its direct lineage, thriving in abundance. On the bustling streets, one can observe various powerful tiger beasts, most of whom have taken on human forms. This clan is exceptionally formidable, adept in combat, with even the most unrefined civilian tiger beasts exuding a faint yet discernible aura of ferocity. Deep within the palace, the ruler of this clan resides. He is known as the Black God Tiger, currently engaged in a discussion with an individual. This majestic black tiger, robust in stature, possesses golden eyes and is adorned with white stripes. What draws even more attention is the pair of wings on his back, gleaming like the feathers of a black swan. "My friend," the Black God Tiger Emperor proclaimed, "in accordance with your proposal, the various altars for worshipping the gods within the city have been completed. We shall require your assistance for the next steps." Opposite him sat a figure clad in black robes, shrouded in mystery. Had Ji Xian been present, he would undoubtedly recognize this being as the third lord of the underworld mountain, the very deity he had previously clashed with. The third lord's eyes were profound, emanating an eerie glow. He responded, "Indeed, with the altars in place to harness the collective will of the populace, we shall possess the means to breach the celestial mountain. We can utilize this power to dismantle the intricate formations of the celestial array and seize the treasures of Kunlun. However, the secret methods you command are equally vital. Without them, All our efforts in the underworld mountain would be in vain. The Black God Tiger Emperor nodded, assuring him, rest easy. At that moment, a guard rushed in, announcing, Your Majesty, there is someone seeking an audience. Who? Inquired the Black God Tiger Emperor. Reporting to Your Majesty, it is the Tiger Lord of the White Tiger clan, replied the guard. Let him enter, commanded the Emperor. Yes. Upon hearing the mention of the White Tiger, the third Lord involuntarily trembled, recalling the Sword Emperor of yore. He quickly asked, What is the matter? Does the lineage of the White Tiger still exist? Did they not perish with the Sword Emperor? Before the Black God Tiger Emperor could respond, an elderly man clad in gray entered the chamber. His hair was white, his frame bent with age, and his steps slow. I pay my respects to the Black God Tiger Emperor. The elder bowed. What brings you here? The Black God Tiger inquired. I beseech Your Majesty to dismantle the newly erected altars within the city, for they are not to be trifled with. The elder implored, his voice trembling slightly. The Black God Tiger Emperor furrowed his brow, expressing displeasure. Tiger Lord, you seem to be overstepping your bounds. I have my own plans, and it is not your place